Welcome to another episode of Correct Me If I'm Wrong. My name is Marcus, and today I have three guests with me. We will start with the bottom two because you guys are returning guests. I've got my cousin Marian Tyson. How you doing today, love?
Hey, hey.
It's always good to have you on. You know, your perspective is always uh, welcomed. You know, we love to hear it. At least I do. And then I got my main man Pope. What's going on, homie?
What's up? What's up? Good to be
Uh,
back.
Yeah, Poke is my guy. You know what I'm saying. We go back and forth, have little banters here and there. You know, on social media. You know what I'm saying. But it's all love and respect. You know what I mean.
No
So it's
doubt.
good to have you guys back on the show. Uh, First time guest, my man Jesse Jones, another Aliquippa alum. Uh, what class are you, Jesse? I don't want to tell your age,
99.
but
Yeah, I'm old.
I
99.
guess, I guess we won't talk about that. But it's all gravy. And you guys can hear me all right. Everything is cool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and get straight into the topic, guys. Um, Topic is a man that needs multiple women is unhappy with himself. Um, I particularly do not 100% agree with it. And I just want to see how you guys feel because I made a post about this not too long ago, maybe about a week ago, and I got a lot of traction on a lot of different opinions. Um, but me personally, I honestly feel that just to kind of get into a little bit, I just don't understand if this is what a man likes to do. Why does it have to be something wrong with him? You know what I mean? Like that's I just don't understand why something would have to be wrong with somebody, you know? Um, so yeah, you know what I mean? Poke, if you want to go ahead and start us off, you know what I mean? Go ahead and go with that.
Now you know you're not right, man, because I kind of wanted to know what they was feeling first. But that's all good. I'll just start with this. I don't have a definitive, passionate uh feeling on this one, but I will tell you that I do believe that, and I'll spend a lot of time talking about nature. I do believe that it's only natural for a man to desire multiple women. I believe that for a man not to be with multiple women, he has to almost seek out some type of therapy or some type of help from a higher power, whether that be their God. They have to pray on it. They have to meditate. They have to stay out of certain situations. So in essence, they got to stay. They got to fight against their own nature. But if you have a desire to be with one woman, if you love that woman and that is your actual desire, then maybe you fight against your own nature. But I will end on this one because I want to keep it short. Never, ever, ever, ever will we say a woman that needs multiple men is unhappy with herself. We'll never say that in 2022. It's only with men. With men, we got to break every single thing down that's wrong with a man. But again, if a woman says, I want to have multiple men, no one, especially other women, will say that she is unhappy with herself. And I'll land my plane on that.
Okay. Anybody want to piggyback off of that?
Ladies first.
Well,
I was, I
okay,
was,
even Marion, even if you don't want to piggyback off of that, I would like.
well, yeah. I don't agree. 1,000. I mean, maybe like 2%. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe. I'm not of the notion of saying y'all say this about this person, but if you said about this, it would be that. Like, because a lot of times when people say that, they're wrong. And maybe you right about society, but you're wrong about me. Because if you did say that about a one, like I would agree that okay, sis, well, let's unpack some things. What's going on? you know. So But okay, so I'll start with my thought process on the subject. So first of all, I don't like to paint things with broad strokes. So to say every man that desires multiple women is unhappy, I got questions. You know, when Marcus first told me about this topic, the man that I'm envisioning is, I call it Mike Lowry. Everybody watch, or hopefully everybody has seen
Bad
Bad Boys.
boys.
Bad Boys. So if you are Mike Lowry for your entire adult life and don't seek a real connection with anybody, you just want to jump from bed to bed to bed, and that's it. I think there's something there. I think you should see a therapist and figure out, why do you not want to connect with somebody? Why do you not seek, or not want to seek real connection? You know, I don't believe in polygamy or polyamory or any of that. But I'll hold, for the sake of this conversation, I'll hold space and say, you know, there might be that people out there that that's what works for them. That's what they're supposed to do, you know. And with that though, that's still an agreement amongst adults, multiple adults who are committed to each other. That's still building something. That's still having a real connection, even though it's not just two people. That's still building a real connection. That's not just hopping from bed to bed to bed. You don't know where you're gonna be from one weekend, one night to the other. So that's what, like, you have to really kind of say, what exactly are we talking about here? You know, I am a Christian. Um, and so, and I also
We
think
will
that,
get into that.
yeah. um, I also think that, you know, jumping from bed to bed is very lonely. And God said that it is not good for man to be alone. So just because you're having sex does not mean that you are together with somebody. And so to me, that goes, like I said, whether it's many um, in one agreement, one committed agreement, or a man and woman, like, that's a whole other conversation. That's, or at least a sub conversation. Like, what are the parameters of what we're talking about here? Because I just, yeah, making no connection, whether it be it man or woman, I just don't think that's good. I don't think it's healthy. And if you don't desire real connection, I do question your mental health, your emotional stability, and all those things. I am not a licensed therapist though.
Hey, but your opinion does matter, though. It really does. Like I said, I like to get women's perspectives on topics like this as well. My man Jesse, what you got for us?
So I'm gonna try to be brief here. Anybody who knows me knows I can talk, especially about topics like these. These are my favorite type of topics.
Hey,
So,
man, the platform is for you to, say what you got to say. I don't have a time limit on you.
okay, cool, cool. So here's the thing. Um, I disagree with my man Poke. I do. I understand where he's coming from, but I disagree. First thing I disagree with is that if it was a woman, we would never say in 2022 that she's unhappy with herself. And the reason I disagree with that is because historically, that's all we've ever done. If a woman has multiple men, she's a slut, she's a hoe, she's this, she's that. And there always is this, oh, you have daddy issues, or you have this, or you have that. Something must be wrong with you that you don't want just one man. Men just now are starting to catch up to get some of that backlash. Secondarily, I holistically believe that a man is unhappy with himself if he needs multiple women. But much like Marian, I want parameters. So, first, because I'm a word person, I break down the word need. The word need literally means you have to have it in order to be alive or in order to be sustained, right? So, if someone needs something, multiple of something, and they already have something, what literally is going on is there's a void in you, and you're looking to this thing that should fill it to fill it, and it's not filling it. And you can have multiplicity of them, and everybody like, oh, it's a good thing because you have multiple. But the reason you keep looking for more is because that void is still unfulfilled. When you talk about unhappy, I'm not talking about a person who's walking around sad and crying all the time, because connection can keep you from that. You can hide in that way. When I'm saying a man is unhappy with himself, if what he knows, whether he admits it or not, that there's something missing, and I have to find it. Literally, from if you take it from a Christian perspective or just a natural perspective, it's a thing. So we can even look in nature, and people. I love when I hear people say in nature that it's not that no male of any species is monogamous in life. That's not true. That's just something that we say. It's absolutely not true. Even in the
But
animal
but
kingdom, you have.
but when I'm sorry, but when you
Mhm.
look up a list of monogamous mammals, you know which mammal is not on there? Humans.
Tell me.
We're not on that list.
So you know why we're not on that list? Because we make the list. We make the list. When you literally study most animals, even animals that run in packs, you have the alpha male. We all know that, but there's also the alpha female. She's the one who run. When you talk about lions, because most people they talk about the lions, lions, the king of the jungle. They got all. Listen, there's a alpha female lion that's running everything. That male lion is not screwing every female lion that comes across because the alpha female will kill the rest of them. Until a female is big enough to step up and take her place, much like with an alpha male lion, until the young buck is big enough to step up and take his place, it ain't going down that way. We see more females in the pack because generally they're looking for protection. They're not all getting done up by this male lion. Wolves are the same way. Birds are the same way. We look at it from the perspective of how many they have in their circle, as opposed to how many they're actually involved with. We as humans write the book, and mostly men, we like to narrate the story, so that's what we like to say. It is absolutely in our nature to be monogamous. It is in our mindset to not be monogamous. So yes, you're absolutely right, Poke, where you have to go through some type of therapy or turn to religion or something like that in general to fight that. But it's more so because historically, what we have done is perpetuate a stereotype that's absolutely not true. It's not. If you take it from a Christian perspective, it's not true. Because from a Christian perspective, it was one man to one woman, and then sin came in, and now there's a multiplicity. If you take it in nature, you only literally connect generally with one person on a specific kind of level at a time. You can allow others into your circle and connect with them on different levels, but only generally one person can hit you on almost every level at any single point in time. When they get together, men and women's physiology is that way, where every woman can't get impregnated by every man because their biology doesn't match up. So there's multiple levels.
Now, my question
y'all gotta shut me up.
No, and that's all good. I'm all for that. But my question is, are there different definitions of monogamy? Because I do know there are some animals they'll mate, and once that mate dies, they never mate with anybody ever. Not anybody, but they never mate again. So is that because that's not how we are? So our definition of monogamy would be one at a time.
Yes, there's different levels to it. I don't think anybody is under the impression that once your soulmate, wife, husband, or whatever dies, that you should never be with nobody else ever again. But at the same time, there's still a yearning to be with one. You have couples who were together 50 years, and one of them dies. It generally don't take too long for my parents are a great example of that. My dad died in October of last year. My mom made it to May of this year. She was actually on her way out in February and March of this year and held on till May because the person she had been with for 50-something years was gone. It's how we're connected and intertwined together. We never like to think about it, especially as men, because we've always been taught, hey, you spread your seed. And the crazy, and I shouldn't say crazy, I'll be nice. We have there's the notion that's always spread around that, a woman can only be impregnated by one man at a time, but a man can impregnate 50 women at a time. And so that's why we're supposed to be able to go ahead and spread our seed.
But it was designed that way, correct?
It was designed for us to be with one partner as well. But we negate that. We only want to take half the story. We have the ability to impregnate multiple because women are receivers. We're givers. But you're always going to have more gift than you have receipt.
If I know a woman can only have one baby, per year? You know what I mean? Well, give and take,
Give or take, yeah.
Okay. Every 9 months. Once every 9 months. Look, before I go on, I want to say what's up to my man, Gav, just coming onto the show. How you doing, my man?
What's going on? What's going on, man?
You know how I go. You know
how's
what I
my
mean?
mic? Is everything good?
You're good. You sound good.
Right.
And I see. You know, I'm sure you can see the topic here. Yeah. So I just want to, give him a shout out. He just popped onto the show. But so like I was saying though, if a woman can only have a baby every 9 months, and how can we really populate this earth by having one woman getting pregnant at a time by one person? You know what I'm saying? Like how can you possibly work that way?
What dude you know?
Now, don't wait a minute. Don't come up on here like we.
No, because what I'm saying is, if everybody was just to be monogamous right now, and I can only get one woman pregnant at a time, the birth rate drops dramatically. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't come up on here like Alice Moore was not our great aunt.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's only once every 9 months. Meanwhile, in 9 months, do you know how many kids I can have in 9 months? If I want an army, I have the ability to do that. If I want my lineage to last forever, I can literally do that.
But so what are we talking here? Are we talking populating the earth? Are we talking connect? Are we talking being happy? It's almost like we're combining topics here, or combining ideologies. If you're talking about sex and procreation, then yeah, we're able to do that, and that's what has happened historically. But if we're
does
talking
that also
about
still
connection
lead
and
to
being happy?
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so if I'm spreading my seed around, a lot of women will say, "Hey, he's not happy. He's got all of these kids by all of these women. Something's wrong with him."
No, because in general he's not. You can take a look at Nick Cannon. He's a wonderful example of this crazy stuff. Nick Cannon got 100 baby mamas with 6,000 kids, and can take care of them all. But he keeps doing it, and when you hear his talk, you can hear about the words behind his words when he talks about it in interviews and stuff. He's not happy. He's searching for something. He don't know what it is, and I don't know what to tell him to go look for. But you can hear him talk about, I'm trying to make something that lasts. I'm trying to make something that's this. I'm trying to do. It's never about real, actual legacy, because you can have actual, real legacy with just one.
Yeah, hey, give an example of what you're talking about. What has Nick said that makes you think that his unhappiness is related to the woman that he's with?
I think Nick Cannon is traumatized by the fact that he's going to die early. He's trying to make up for the fact that Nick Cannon is trying to make up for the fact that he's going to die young. He knows he's going to die young. And he's trying to make up for that, even though it does not make sense, because you are going to leave all these children fatherless and traumatized.
Hey, whenever I get a chance, can I have the floor?
Go right. Hold on. Before you go ahead and do that, I just want to get my man Gav's perspective of what he feels about the topic, and then Poke, I want you to go ahead and hop on
that. A man that needs multiple women is unhappy with himself. Man, I don't think a man needs any woman personally. So I think, that's false within itself. I think women need men, and
yes, I love it. Look at her face. I love it. Let's go, Gav. Let's go.
Well, it's just a fact. So. But I'm just listening, so I'm just coming in. So I want to sort of take it in what y'all saying. So I want to go out of order. Poke was going, but that's just my thoughts initially.
Okay, and then we'll go ahead and see what Poke got to say, and then what I'm saying, if you want to piggyback off anything that people are saying, go right on ahead. But go ahead, my man.
Okay, bet. I just want to clear some ground rules here. Whenever, as far as I go, nothing I say is absolute. I'm never talking about every woman. I'm never talking about every man. I'm talking about most or too often. Okay, so I'm never saying every. Nothing is absolute. I started this by saying that in 2022, nobody would ever say a woman that wants multiple men is unhappy with herself. And the response that I got from that is, historically, we called them hoes and sluts. Well, I wasn't talking about history. I wasn't talking about then. I'm talking about today. In today's society, We would never say that about a woman. I mean,
I
a
would.
few. So again, nothing is absolute. I'm talking about society as a whole would never judge that woman like that. And Marian, you would have what they call a controversial opinion if you stated something like that. But also, what I want to say is Jesse said a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot. So now it's time to start unpeeling this onion. If you feel the need to populate the earth, okay, all right, let's start here. Let's talk about nature. Sex isn't for fun. Sex was never meant for the feeling of it. Sex was really meant for population. Sex was really meant for reproduction.
I have to disagree with that, because when we're talking, and again, whatever you want to call them, God, Allah, the creator, whatever you want to do, if I believe that, then why would he make it feel so good? You can't make something like that. Like, you know what?
Do you think people would do it if it didn't feel good?
Hold on.
People that go do it feels like pins and needles.
But if it does it have to feel like anything? It's like, yo, this is only specifically done when you're ready to populate, when you're ready to have kids. It don't have to be no type of feeling. But why does it have to feel? Why would he make something that's, I want to say bad, but
he's a loving and gracious God, and it was a gift.
Yeah,
Marquise, I'm sorry. That's a fair question, but it's kind of irrelevant to this.
Okay.
If we all do agree that sex is really meant for reproduction, whether it feels great or not, the number one purpose of sex is reproduction. Can we all agree on that?
I'll agree with that.
Okay, so boom. If we all do agree that the number one reason for reproduction, then it doesn't blow my mind that it's only natural that men want and desire other women, because really that comes with our job here. Our job is to protect, our job is to provide, but our job is also to populate the earth and populate our society. And that goes back to what you said. A woman can only get pregnant once a year, right? I could have 10 kids by 10 different women. That's called population. If you Bible thumpers that are Christians, if you go back to Genesis, how in the world did the world get populated by just two people? Somebody had to be able to hit off a whole bunch of women at the same time. And then we'll just stick off, we'll stay in the Bible. Why is it that Solomon had 1,000 wives? Every major man in the Bible had multiple women. This is something that's all throughout the Bible. And also, going back to what Jesse said, there's nowhere in the Bible that proves that monogamy is the Christian way. If you go back to Africa, where we were at, there's nowhere where you could prove that monogamy is the Christian way. There's nowhere in this world, in this society, where you can say, see, look, monogamy worked. Monogamy only became a situation with the Western Hemisphere and with Europeans, and it's proven not to work. If monogamy was the right way, why don't it work?
So with that being said, before we go any further, I want to go ahead and play a clip real fast. It's prior, but what I think is about 4.5 minutes, something like that. You know, I just want y'all to hear this clip, and then we can discuss what's being said here, because it kind of lines up with what Pope was going into.
You say in your book, there is no history of the black man settling down with one woman,
right,
and never desiring to have another, before slavery, during slavery, or after slavery. The black man has never been recorded to have just one woman.
Right. Well, I think there's some actual facts we can look at on that. Monogamy has failed for the white man in America.
But this is like saying it's okay.
It's not me saying it's okay. This is how they're living. I'm giving you the history of what their life is. Black men haven't been waiting on me to tell them it's all right to have more than one woman. Neither have white men. You know, this is just what they do. I'm not talking about fornication and adultery. I'm not talking about one-night stands and running around rampant with other women. That's not the kinds of, when I say more than one woman relationship. Mm-hmm. I mean that before we came to America, our men had more than one wife and family. And we were satisfied with it because we had not met the monogamy idea. We had not met the American white woman who, you know, insists on certain kinds of values in her man. We had not learned envy and jealousy. All right. After coming here, those kinds of ideas were bred into us because of society and the mores that the Americans made up here. And so then we started to have problems with that. But I think that since it is apparent that most of them, not all of them, it's certainly up to the man, do love more than one woman. I got tons of mail. A lot of black men write and tell me that they have had 2 women for 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, and they can't even get the women to speak to each other. Sometimes they have 2 families.
Would I want to talk to a woman who's sharing perhaps the bed and the money and the social life with who I would deem as my man?
If you want to deal in reality, and if you are not insecure, and if you don't think that robs you of something, you would want to know them. If he loves her, you certainly should want to know her.
There are a lot of black women out there who say,
"Oh, I know they're mad about that idea. I understand, you know."
That would never hold water.
Wait a minute, that's not easy. And that's a frightening thought to most of us. And I don't like that. I'm not for that. I'm in agreement with everybody else. Our men ought to just have one woman. But that is not the reality. I'm trying to get us to deal with some reality for a change. Stop dealing with fantasy. Stop dealing with television. Stop dealing with imagination of how we wish things were. Let's deal with them how they are, what it is, present tense. And
but because that's happening doesn't mean I have to like that or want to accept that.
No, that means that you can live in hell. That means you can live in doubt. That means that you can always be checking on your man. That means that you can be insecure and be, tearful. And that means you can be disappointed when you find out the real truth. And you don't want to have that in your life. None of us do. But in order not to have that, then we have to deal with some reality and recognize that men are not limited in the way that women are. Men are able to love more than one woman. I'm not talking about, as I said, just a random sexual relationship of fornication and adultery and all of that. I mean that there are many black men who have children by more than one woman. What is to become of those children? They need their father.
But if you would cheat on me or walk out on me.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. We have to get into definition. Who told us that was cheating? Where did that idea come from that that's cheating? And I'm not saying that a lot of men are not just running around. I'm not talking about that. Mm-hmm. But if a woman finds out that her man has been with a woman while she's been with him for 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's a serious commitment and relationship. And if it hasn't taken anything from me, if I'm not going short of anything, and if this is what he thinks his responsibility is, then what kind of hell are you going to go through to prevent that? Since we cannot stop him, we have not been successful. The white woman has not been successful in stopping the white man from having another woman. They call them a mistress. We pick up a lot of that terminology. But a man who has 2 women, that's not necessarily a mistress. That's just his other woman. Now we got 2 choices. We can be the woman or the other woman. We don't have but those 2. Now I know we don't like that. I don't like that, but that's the reality of our life at some point. Now it's up to the man. But every man doesn't want 2 women, but those that do, they're going to do it.
What about our morals and our religion?
Whose religion? Whose morals? Not our religion, because we're not practicing the religion of black people anymore. That was taken from us. We don't have our morals anymore. That was taken from us. So whose idea are you representing when you stand up for those values? Not ours. Somebody else's, some other nationality. And it may work for them, but it doesn't work for us. It hasn't worked for anybody, really, but nobody wants to deal with the truth. Monogamy was only created because of the economics of it.
Man, can I build on that?
All right.
Can I build on that?
Go ahead. Hold on real quick. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Well, all right. I just wanted to build on it because that's where I had left off with. And all I'm trying to say is we need to deal with the actual facts. There is no society where we see monogamy works. And we need to accept the fact that we got this whole idea from them. This was never our idea. We never rolled like this, ever. And they themselves, the dominant society, it doesn't work for them. We have a 60% divorce rate? It don't even work for them. No one can show me where monogamy actually worked. And I'll land my plane.
Marian, you had something to say, Marian? We can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yeah, she muted.
There we go. My bad.
Yeah, no, you good.
I was trying to call my cousin during that. That's why I was muted. Because that was my question in the beginning though, was what are we really talking about here? Are we talking about monogamy versus polygamy or polyamory? Or are we talking about what I call, like I said, the Michael Lowrys of the world that are just hopping from bed to bed? Like, because she even said it in there herself. She said, I'm not talking about those dudes.
Okay, and I still think that they kind of go hand in hand, because even when we're talking about polyamory, polygamy, or whatever the case is, majority of the women, almost all of the women I know, aren't with that either. Even if you're straight up with them, like, yo, this is my lifestyle, this is how I want to live, I like you, and they're not with it.
Are we talking about what's acceptable, or are we talking about what people deem as unhappy, triggered, traumatized, or whatever? You know, like when
some people would say that a man who wants still multiple women, who wants to be in a relationship or married to two women, there would still would you guys say, hey, there's something that you're searching for, there's something you're missing if you still need to have two women. So regardless of what I feel like what the dynamic is, whether you're, you know, sleeping with this woman, sleeping with that woman, you know, you're just out there doing your thing, or you just want to be with two women. Because if we're talking about polyamory, a lot of guys, they'll say, yes, you know, I'll deal with polyamory, but what polyamory basically is, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, that everybody's aware of what's going on. The women are know, hey, I have other women. And they're also allowed, the women are also allowed to do their thing as well. You know what I mean? But a lot of guys, what they'll say is I like polyamory, but only, hey, I can have as many women as I want to, but you still have to just be loyal to me. So that's more of like a polygamy thing, I think, without the marriage. But, you know, I don't know. It all gets kind of crazy. But my man, Willie, what's going on, bro? How you feeling?
What's going on with you, man? I'm good.
I know you popped in a little bit late. You know, I know you see the topic. You know what I mean? I talked to you earlier this week and earlier today. But what do you think about this?
Shit. I think it's up to the man. Me and my wife was just talking about this. Yeah, I don't think polygamy is a bad deal. I think a man can have multiple women and be happy, but I do think there's a line. Like the lady in the video you showed said, you know, you can't be out here, you know, like Marian said, you can't be like the Michael Lowrys of the world, nugs. Those type of guys out here just making babies and not taking care of their kids. They are a cancer to society. So to hell with them. But yeah, if you had like a Nick Cannon, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with what the hell Nick Cannon's doing.
And see,
he got the resources to take care of his kids. He can do that. Why not? And especially if these adult, mature, responsible women are agreeing with it. So I definitely don't think. I think you could be happy, but I don't think monogamy is for everyone. It's up to the man. We can't tell another man what makes him happy. That's madness.
Okay. Can I comment on that whole, if you have the resources?
Yes, because we did talk about Nick Cannon earlier, and we're saying even though he has all the money and the resources to be able to take care of his children,
money is not enough. Money is not enough.
That's correct. It's not enough, but it is almost primary in the U.S. If you want to sustain a quality life in the U.S., income is priority on this land. That's just a fact. So you cover that, everything else is accounted for. But if you don't, as a man, if you don't have your finances in order, you dead in the water as far as taking care of a family.
Because I'm not going to lie to y'all. Say that again.
Do all of these women that are having his children even live in the same state?
It doesn't. That's not our business. That's not our agreement. What does that matter?
I get real tight as a mother. I get real tight about about people commenting on what it takes to raise a child. And I said, my parents have been married for 35, going on 36 years. But my father also had 2 jobs my entire life. He was in my home, but was not around. And me and my brother suffered for that. We are grateful
and that's
for
what I'm saying. So, but we are assuming that that's the case with Nick. We can't do that. We cannot assume. We can't take our personal experiences and assume and project that on someone else. That's unfair as ever.
One person to 11 kids.
But there we go again.
There's
Nick
no way.
Cannon, you said your father worked 2 jobs. Like, you said your father worked 2 jobs. God bless that man. Glory to him. At the same time, I'm pretty sure he wasn't making what Nick Cannon makes in a week. None of us are. So
about the pure physics of it, the math and the physics of it. You cannot be, especially if there's one woman in Florida, one in New York, you can't be everywhere.
These are assumptions. We can't say if one's we don't know where they are.
Math.
But let's hypothetically say that they are all spread all over the place.
Okay, let's say so. Now we're saying that is wrong.
Hey, real quick, I was just gonna say if you wanted to check her like echo cancellation or something, because she getting like some crazy feedback.
Okay.
Ma.
I think you got to do that from your end, I think, don't you?
You can do it from the master key.
Okay.
You can change it. You can check her.
But that's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it's good, man, for us to look at situations like this and judge critically and think about the children. That's perfect way of thinking about it. At the same time, we must be careful, like I said, projecting our personal experiences onto someone else. We must be very careful with being critical and projecting. It's just a very fine line. We can't do that.
And I agree. Like, but one thing that I see is, as men, we are always criticizing. There's always something wrong. If we have the money and the resources to do whatever we want to do, then you're not spending enough time. If we have the time, then you're not providing. But there's always something for a man not to do what he wants to do. But a woman can do what she wants to do, and we'll figure out.
But that doesn't make both sides right. Because a woman can do what she wants to do.
Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought, brother. But this is what I know. If I have the resources and I have actual agreements with consenting adult women that can make decisions for themselves, then there shouldn't be no problems at all. And in this conversation, what we're doing is we're saying Nick Cannon is wrong. And guess what else? Those women, they can't make decisions for themselves. Those women can make decisions for themselves. They know what's best for themselves.
Children that to be here.
But those women, that man made a decision.
A wrong decision for a child that didn't ask to be here and they cannot decide for themselves.
So let me ask you this. So it's a wrong decision for a child to be brought into this world and be loved by 2 parents. The one parent simply can't spend enough time, according to you.
Poke, can you say that over because you froze? Poke, on my end. I don't know if it's on anybody else's end, but can you froze? Can you say what you said again, sir?
Okay, so I don't know how far I went back, but what I'm saying is, what would be wrong with a child being born, okay, with all the resources that it needs? It may lack time with his father, according to Marian. We don't even know that these children lack that time. We're just making these assumptions. But this child lacks time with his father, but has all the resources in the world and a loving mother. I mean, everybody has something, you know what I mean? Everybody has something. If a father can't give time, then a father can't give money. But something, or a mother can't give nurturing, or a mother can't give this, because we got a whole lot of single mothers that got to work, and they're not giving the nurturing that they used to give. We never, ever, ever do that. Kevin Durant will make it to the NBA and say, my mom is the MVP. He's never going to get up there and say, you know what? My mom did her best, but she didn't do this and she didn't do that. But the woman will grow up one day and be like, you know what? They wasn't around enough. It's unbalanced. That's all I'm saying. I'll land my plane.
Well, you know what? I think Brother Kevin Samuel said it best. We need to give our fathers just as much grace as we give our mothers, and judge our mothers as harsh as we judge our fathers, because both are human, imperfect humans, and both made mistakes. But in our culture, especially in our immediate culture, we are not allowed to speak of the harm done by the hands of our mothers, and that's the imbalance. It's not a point of finger. It's not the cat. It's not to move judgment. It is to resolve. and you can't resolve without talking. And that's what I think the brother's talking about. It's very unbalanced.
Go ahead,
So
Jesse.
my thing is like this.
I
Like,
don't subscribe to that.
Hold on, Mary. I want to let Jesse go ahead.
Let it go, because I did a
Okay.
whole diatribe earlier. Go ahead, man.
I did that. I have criticisms of both my parents, and not just because I'm not ungrateful or whatever, but I don't think that we could be good parents if we don't assess our childhood and our upbringing and figure out a better way. I want to be a better parent than my parents, and I want my child to be a better parent than me. If you can't critically think and criticize both of your parents, you can't do that. So both of my parents know what I agree with and don't agree with about it, and they see it in how I raise my child.
Yeah, and the way that I see things too is like, listen, the only thing that stops me from having an army of children is I cannot afford it. That's the only thing that stops me. You know what I'm saying? So what it says is like money, money isn't enough. Like sometimes I feel like being there just ain't enough. I could be here all, like, we were saying, if I'm around too much, that means I'm probably not providing like the way that I should be. So it's like, hey, at least I like to put you in position to, go to a good school, you know what I'm saying? Because I've got the money to do so, whether that's private school or, when you get to college or whatever the case is. But when you just think about a lot of the kids that, kids that are around and mom and dad ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? And listen, when my kids ask me for something and I have to tell them no, you got to wait till I get paid. That is a terrible feeling. I absolutely hate that feeling. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, money isn't everything, but I mean, it is at the top of the list. I would say, spend time, money. You know what I'm saying? If you can find a balance of that, then you're golden. You're good to go. You know what I'm saying? But it can't just be, I'm a paycheck in the mail. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never see you, it's just child support money. It can't just be that, or, I get you for a couple weeks out the year and a holiday here and a holiday there. No, you can't have that either. So, and I don't think any of us know, we're using Nick Cannon as an example, but, I don't know how often he sees these children. Listen, that man can do whatever he has enough money to be like, listen, if I don't want to work for the next or be on any shows or whatever the case is for the next 2 to 3 years until my kids get to a certain age and I can just be around them, he has the ability to do so. All of the males on this panel, we don't have the ability to do that. I cannot be like, I want to take a year off from work to make sure that I'm around enough to have this bond with my child.
But that's
Marcus,
it's a key of learning the balance. It's not about whether or not you have enough resource versus whether or not you're spending enough time. It's, are you balancing the two for the person that you're with and the child that you're raising? Since we've kind of migrated over to dealing with children as opposed to just dealing with the man, you got to remember these kids have personalities themselves, and every child doesn't require the same thing. Different children require different things. Some children require, hey, I want you to show me love by what you give me. Some children require, hey, spend some time with me. Some children require investment in what they're excited about. So it depends on the child, but that's the balance of being a parent.
I mean, look at have we all seen what 50 Cent's son is saying? We all kind of up to date on that. So I guess that would be an example of a kid who just wanted his dad around, and the money really didn't mean too much. You know what I'm saying?
That's an example of a son that was raised by a single mother, and he took on her opinions.
There you go.
That's all that is,
there
man.
You go. That's a boy that was raised by a bitter woman.
Right. That's all that is. And he acts just like her.
He absolutely sounds like that.
Really
but some people feel like he acting like 50.
No, he may have some of his personality traits, but the way he's coming off,
50 came out
very, very bitter.
You know what drives me crazy? For one, 50 went out into the world and made himself. Regardless of being stuck in the moment, 50 got shot 9 times. He got shot 9 times and he's still alive. He went out and made millions. He did what he said he was going to do. He said, I'm going to get rich or die trying. Can we
Right.
put some respect on some people's names? I understand they entertainers, but they still human.
Absolutely.
Seriously, that's now we talking about these people who like oh it's nothing. No, 50 is a whole mogul, and his son is a
Agreed.
bitch.
For real.
His son is a
Oh,
bitch.
okay.
Real
Okay.
talk.
So, but at the same time, though, again, I don't know how much time 50 with the, how much he spent with his son. But does he, if 50 really didn't spend any time with him in his growing up, do you feel like the young man has any reason to feel the way that he does?
Nope.
I
I
can't
tell
tell a
you what,
person to feel
I
how to
know
feel.
people whose fathers have done less, and they respect that man more. So
Right.
no, that young man's out of line. Seriously, 50 back in the day, it's my understanding that 50. That's the young man that was on, I think, an album cover with 50. He was with his son. He bought his. It's my understanding he bought his son two warehouses full of shoes and wanted to get him to be the first one to start up these shoe resale businesses like what's that, Kick X or whatever. They sell the fancy Nikes and all that. He set his son up for this, and he just didn't take advantage of it. So I hate whenever this stuff comes out in the news and they don't ever give the full
Full
context. And all we
context.
can do is assume that these celebrity men are not in these kids' lives, and that is a terrible assumption to make. And to say that, oh, if he wasn't there, assuming he wasn't there, oh, does that justify his son completely betraying his father? No, not at all.
Because the reality is, you could look at a Kurt Franklin's son and see the exact same thing. Kurt Franklin had resource and spent time up until him and his now ex-wife were separated, and that son is acting like a piece of garbage. So it again, it's understanding that these kids in the equation, since we're dealing with the kids, they have personalities all their own, and you have to understand what it's going to take to raise them. And the truth of the matter is, some kids just going to be trash. It's just what it is. No matter how much money or time or whatever you spend with them, some kids are just gonna be trash. It's they won't mature, they won't grow up, they won't deal with whatever. They become. I was listening before this episode. I was listening to your episode, Marcus, that you did on the homecoming game and the mess that happened with that. Those parents are people who were kids who had this same type of "I'm trash" mentality. Like I was a trash kid, and now I'm becoming a trash adult, and I'm still doing trash kid stuff as an adult. That's what a lot of these kids are doing. But that's got nothing necessarily to do with the time or the money or resource or whatever that they're getting and or not getting oftentimes. Sometimes that's just the personality. Sometimes other people have more of an effect on who they become than the parents themselves. There's a variety of reasons why Fiddy's kid and Kirk's kid and a bunch of other kids come out and do the dumb things that they do for whatever reason they do it. When I was regarding Nick Cannon, I wasn't talking about his ability to take care of the kids or even spend time with the kids. I was simply addressing the fact that for me, there's a void. And if you listen to how he talks about here's how I said there's a void. If you listen to how he talks about Mariah Carey, she's the only one that he talks about with the kind of love and hurt and feeling that he has, no matter who else he deals with. He's always talking about her because she was his void. He said Nick Cannon said before he married her and since he's married her, he said, "Look, I had never looked for marriage. I didn't want to get married. I got
And he also
and
said he'll
stuff
never
didn't
do it
change."
again.
Yeah,
He'll probably never get married again.
but have you ever heard why? He's always said because he'll never find no one like her again. She has a place in his heart, so he's looking to fill a void. Sometimes we just don't know the void that we need to get filled. Whether you're talking male or female, man or woman in the equation, it is literally a void. I'll equate it to food, then the steel pokes line. I'm gonna land my plane. I'm gonna start stealing that because I like how you said that. I'm stealing it. I'm gonna make that my next cliche. When you are full, if you equate it like food, you can eat food. You eat your meal. Once you're full, you don't want nothing to eat until you're hungry again, which means there's a void. When you have the right person in your life, you don't necessarily want to look for someone else because they filled it until either they stop filling it or they're out of your life. And people generally only stop filling the void in your life because one or the other has not grown with the other. We don't know how to grow together in relationships. So what feels us today don't feel us 15 years down the road because we never are taught to look 15 years down the road.
Yeah.
Men growing up typically, especially most of our age bracket, we look like we're all in the same age bracket. We weren't taught how to be in a relationship. We weren't taught, for the most part, how to deal with women. We weren't taught how to be married or not be married. I mean, directly taught. I'm not talking about the examples we saw and the stuff. We were taught essentially, however many you can get them. And that's really was it. Nobody ever taught us how to keep them.
That's how it started with me. Look, it was a competition between me and 3 of my other homies. Hey, we're gonna see who can get the most pussy by the end of the summer.
And that's
literally how sex started for me.
And
women, on the other hand, they're typically taught. Women of our same age bracket were typically taught how to handle and be in relationships. They were taught dependency as opposed to independency. They were taught, you need a man as opposed to wanting a man. They were taught where we had sports and these competitions and things like that. Women, for the most part, had dolls and easy bake ovens. And that's not all of them. I'm like you, Poke. I'm not trying to say all of them, but a vast majority, that was the picture. So for them, it seems easier to be in a relationship than it is for men. The reality is it's just discipline. People now don't want to discipline. And I'll land my plane.
Go ahead, Pope.
All right, great. I'm gonna get to what Jesse said last, because what he said last is actually one of our biggest issues. But I'm gonna start with what we've been talking about, which was Nick Cannon, and something that you said, Marcus, that really raised my antennas. But you did say that Nick Cannon at this point has the money and resources to do what he wants, right? Well, that's the whole issue with this. We're talking about a man that needs multiple women is unhappy with himself. The whole entire issue is, as men, we're not allowed to do what fucking makes us happy. And it doesn't matter what you got going on in your life. If you have all the money in the world, you still can't do what makes you happy. You know why? Because you ain't got the time for all your kids. If you ain't got the money, then you can't do what's happy because you ain't got no money. No matter what men do, we can't do what makes us happy, right? But I'm gonna end with this one. So Jesse is saying that little girls are taught how to be in relationships, while men, we're taught how to be players.
Typically, not wholly, but typically.
Well, I just want to ask a question, because me and Marian, we discussed this a little bit earlier, but and I'm sure we'll talk, or we may talk about this man. But does this man look unhappy? Does he look unhappy to you? Hey, all kind of varieties, different flavors. You know what I'm saying? However he want it, and they all want him. Now, for the reasons that's nor here nor there, but he has the pickings. He has any option that it is that he wants. So when people say men with multiple women are not happy with themselves, I don't know, man. He seems seems kind of happy. Now, I do feel like, okay, at what age should we not be happy with ourselves? And then also, how many women do I have to go through to see that, okay, this fills whatever void it is that I'm trying to fill? Because if we want to talk about the Christianity part of it, and again, I grew up in the church, but I'm not a Bible thumper or anything like that. I can't recite any Bible verses whatsoever. But as if we're not supposed to have sex until we are married with somebody, I don't understand how okay, now I married this woman and this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah.
Hell no.
So now I got to divorce her. Now I got to start over. And then at the same time, I still can't have sex with anybody else. Meanwhile, since I'm divorced from this woman, because now I have to get married again to see if this person fills this void for me. If this is a person that I'm happy with sex. Because again, we know, like, money and sex isn't everything. But it's definitely important, because if I am unsatisfied sexually with you, what do you think I'm going to do? And I don't want to hear that, you can teach her, you can teach him. Listen, man, I'm almost 40, and everybody else on this panel is almost 40. We are not in the business of teaching anybody what it is that we like. I think that's by trial and error and learning your
But
partner's body.
that's also impatience. So like, here's the problem. When you get into that portion of the conversation and you deal with sex being one of the predicators to marriage or not, happiness or not, here's what we have to deal with as a society as a whole in this country. We don't talk about sex. So I mean, like on a real basis, we talk about the STDs and this stuff. We don't teach people, men or women, typically, how to what pleases you, what how to explore and figure out what you like. So by the time we get with someone, especially if you're talking in the in the Christian sense, oh, don't have sex before marriage. You start getting into that portion of it. Here's the problem with that. You have spent 20, 25, whatever it takes years of hearing sex is evil, sex is bad, you go into hell if you have sex, this, that, and the third, and no one's ever taught you sex is wonderful, especially when done right. Sex is absolutely outstanding.
So what is doing it wrong?
Well, I'm talking about in terms of the Christianity.
I'm not talking about the physical act of it, but okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's because that's what Christians will tell you. They'll tell you the physical act of sex is evil, and it winds up creating a subconscious complex in people, so that by the time they get married, it's hard for them to have sex and explore things with their partner. So now you have a woman who's timid, who only do missionary and is real timid to do that, and you have a dude who don't know nothing about what he's doing, because no one in the church has ever really talked about sex. You don't hear it preached about, taught about, nothing. All it is absence before marriage, abstinence, and that's not what it is. And then when a young person has sex, rather than talking to them and dealing with them and loving them, we condemn them, especially when it's the woman. The dude can sit and play on the drums. Well, not in our church. That never mind. Marcus goes that well. I almost I had to let me I had to pull back because I know some things. But you know, they get praised while the girl in the choir is pregnant. She ain't allowed to be seen. She can't do announcements. She can't sing a solo. You messed around and had sex before marriage. And you pregnant. Well, she didn't have sex by herself. But we don't
listen. They don't even want to give her a Mother's Day basket for service.
Right. And that's a problem. So we have an issue, especially from a Christian perspective, dealing with sex. So you'll never, and since this country is still largely a Christian fundamental country, whether most people believe in Christianity or not, it still has the fundamental basis of a lot of Christian teachings. You're going to have a large problem with these kinds of things, especially as it relates to sex and relationships here. When you go to other countries that are sexually free and more open and talk about it more, and it's not that big a deal, they don't have these kind of problems that we got. We got these kind of problems in terms of sex because we're repressed and we're backed up, and niggas ain't getting it, and women don't know how to give it to them. Like, this is what we have the issues with. Women ain't satisfied because they're not allowed to tell the dude, yo, you hitting it wrong. Yo, I really wish you would stop licking so fast. I really wish you would take your time. I'm sorry, a little too explicit.
But I mean, even with you saying that though, like, a lot of things are completely out of our control. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, a man might have a problem to where it's like, hey, I'm quick draw McGraw. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't help it. I don't know what to do, babe. I didn't try to manually do this to you know what I mean, to make sure I can preserve myself. I done took pills. I'm eating right. I just have a problem. And she's like, you know what? Listen, I don't want to. I'm not about to deal with this for the next 10, 15, 20 years, bro. Or I can. But listen, man, this young whippersnapper over here, this Thundercat, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna slide over there a couple times a month. But I still love you. But you know what I'm saying? I know we talked about women who want to do this, so I didn't get to listen to this whole entire clip, but I just want to play just a little portion of this, and we can discuss it. Like I said, somebody sent it to me earlier, and I just want to play a small portion of it. I think you know what I mean, and like I said, we can go ahead and discuss this as well. All right.
We can revisit,
Right.
Because I don't think men are willing to do that for women. I don't think a woman could come to a man.
That's a good point.
In a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and say, I'm a great woman. I do all these great things. I have my own car, my own job. I
don't need your
clean,
money.
I don't need your money. I cook, clean. I keep myself up.
I love you for you, but
I love you for you, but I can't stop fucking other guys.
Other men may accept that.
I have never heard of a situation where a man has or would
that wants to be in a monogamous relationship.
Because I hear a lot about men wanting women to be patient with them, but I don't hear it the other way around.
But at the end of the day, you have to look at it through this lens, right? When you get to a point where you're talking about partnerships, you have to be what that other person lacks, or you have to be what that person needs you to be. You know what I'm saying? The women doing the same thing as a man to find the thrill is different, because I may say it's selfish.
I knew he was gonna say
it's selfish to say, and I'm admitting that it is selfish to say, you know what, babe, I want to go outside. I just want to fuck these hoes, but you got to stay home. I'm gonna come back to you. But then when a woman does it, it's just like, bitch, you ain't shit. What the fuck? How the fuck could you do this shit? Da, 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 da. We're wired differently. But I'm gonna ask you, as the person who's married, what's more likely for you to hear? A man with multiple wives or a wife with multiple husbands?
You're gonna hear men with multiple wives because it's socially accepted more.
It's socially accepted. But what about in past times?
Same. I think it was more socially accepted for a man to have multiple wives than a woman
Wasn't that
to
in
have.
the Old Testament?
Yeah, I mean, I think that.
What's the difference?
On that different testament. We're going biblical.
can't.
I don't really know my verses like that,
do.
so don't. She do too. If y'all want to have a war,
I do.
I don't want to have a war.
I don't.
What's your
I know
question?
Genesis 1:1. That's it.
In the beginning.
In the beginning.
Right. I believe that in our religion, it has got lost in translation, and I warrant what I'm about to say. People say, "Oh, that's in the Old Testament. This is the New Testament," and things like that. There are some high-valued men in the Bible that had a lot of favor from God by having multiple wives and multiple concubines. So you can't sit up here and say you want a man of God and not acknowledge the fact that, oh, in this society it's socially accepted. But in the Bible, when you talk about David, when you talk about Solomon, the wisest person in all of earth, he had the most wives anybody has ever had, and concubines. And when David was in battle, he would go back to not only to save his wives, but to go back and protect his concubines. And then we find a way in a situation where we talk about relationships in this day and time, and not knowing the realization that the Bible has always been a place where everybody wasn't always married to one wife.
All right. So, how y'all feel?
So many thoughts, but I've been talking too much, so I'm gonna let everybody else go first.
Whoever want to go, man. How you feel about that? Marian, you smiling? What's up? Or whoever, really, go ahead.
You know, I always got some shit to say. I will say, okay, on that video, holy smokes. So women, that lady was asking, why can't women have multiple husbands? Okay, I just that just don't even sound healthy for a woman. Marian, do you think a woman can healthily have multiple husbands in a healthy manner? Multiple husbands.
I don't think either. Like for me, I don't think either or. Men having multiple wives.
Okay.
So that's the thing. But I don't like when there's always trying to be, this space held for men to do all these things, but then you condemn the women or you say it's unhealthy.
Well, listen.
There we go. There we go. And
But check this out, though. Hold on. This is how I feel about a situation as well. If I go out and I have sex with 10 women tonight, okay, and I'm the, you know what I'm saying, I'm the only person that these women have been with.
You're gonna be sore in the morning, dog. You're a little older to do that now, bro. You're a little too old to do that now.
Yeah, that's definitely
drop that number down, son, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we can rewind it. 15 years ago, If I was to go out and have sex with 10 women and half of them get pregnant, I'm the only dude that they were with at that time, chances are I am going to be the father of those children who she has gotten pregnant by. Now, even though a woman can only get pregnant one time, if you go out there and have sex with, because women can have sex way more than men can, you know what I'm saying? Y'all really just have to lay there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't got to get back up. Y'all ain't got to, none of that. Y'all can do it as many times as y'all want to. That's why you see when you see certain things and you watch these women getting 20-man trains ran on them. You know what I'm saying? That dude can't do that. It's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work. But if a woman goes out and has sex with 10, 15 dudes and gets pregnant, what's going to be running through her mind? Which one of these niggas is my baby dad? You know what I'm saying?
So there you go.
The fact that a woman can go on, if you want to do what men can do, fine. But now you have to deal with the backlash of it of not knowing who your kid's father is. And now you're getting all of these dudes tested. And then come to find out you may have half of those dudes that you can find. And guess what? None of them are the kid's father. So now you got to do all this digging and all of this research to find out, oh man, is he still around? I got to still test X, Y, and Z. Or dang, maybe I was drunk one night. Maybe it was, you know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why it's probably not good for women to want to sleep around with multiple people like men do.
But but are we talking about sleeping around or are we talking about relationships?
Regardless of the case, even if you were married, like he said, if you have multiple husbands.
She said sleeping around. She said she want to F a bunch of different dudes.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
On the video. But that's what I'm saying. Like what bothers me is when women feel like they can do the same exact things as men can do. Like we're the same. We are not the same. We are different. We are different beings. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I think about it, it's like, why do you want to be like us? This
is why I like what Gavin said from the beginning. And Gavin, I want you to be more vocal, man. I want to hear from you. But this is the thing, man. We spend too much time making this stuff way too complicated. And women way too much spend too much time contributing to what is bad for them. So for instance, let's just be honest here. A box that has been passed around is least valuable than a box that has been protected. Simple.
That's a fact.
A box that has been passed around may be looser, it may be drier, it may not be as good as one that has been protected. However, a man that goes around and he gets woman, we are more attractive to who? To women. How do we know this? Because we lived a life. So when a man has the ability to get a bunch of women, more women like them. They are attracted to that. But a man, we're not attracted to a box that's been passed around. It's that damn simple. So if you want to just go around and pass your box around and be with multiple men, go do it. Your pH balance may be affected. The tightness is going to be affected. And we don't see it as valuable. You lost value.
I pushed out a 9-pound, 3-ounce baby.
No. That's not the same. We're talking about penises. We're talking about penises.
Yeah, but the snapback is the same.
No,
women,
it ain't.
Listen, dog. I'm married to a 45-year-old woman. I promise you, the snapback is the same. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Because here's what it is. There are ways for women.
So
it depends on how the woman takes care of herself.
Well, women can't get dick down by. Let's be honest. Fuck, because we can't keep dancing around this.
Yeah.
Because a woman can't get dick down by a man and marry a man that's lesser. She's gonna forever be thinking about that man that dicked her down. It's just that
same with dudes. A dude can't get some good stuff. A dude can't get some real good stuff, and then marry some chick who ain't as good. But human nature is to never want to digress. That's not just a woman thing. That's a human thing.
What do you mean by not as good? What's not as good?
You can't. A man is not gonna go from I just had me a freak to I'm now marrying a prude. That's not gonna work. That's not how it works. You're gonna forever want to go either get that freak or turn that prude into the freak or compare it. It's human nature. We don't want to ever go. No one wants to go back.
So with that
all these women is freaks. So let's start here. How many women ain't freaks? with their man in the goddamn bed. We got to stop.
Okay, so
ain't no nuns walking around.
Let me help you out. As a pastor who counsels this stuff, I can tell you way more than you would think. It is more so a matter of going back again to how people are taught and trained of what we're dealing with. Women are historically, and even to this day for the most part, on large scale in this country, are not taught to be comfortable with their sexuality. We just had a few years ago, the doggone song WAP came out, and niggas lost their mind because
black women. Was we talking about black women?
Yes, black women. Black women. Listen, black women lost their minds with the song WAP.
I hear you. These women are twerking by the age of 5, brother. What are you talking about?
Listen,
like they are over sexualized. They are over.
And it's not that they're over sexual. There's a difference between being over sexualized and being allowed to be to be allowed to be sexual. There's a humongous difference. Women are being made to twerk, right? Or twerking themselves from the age of 5 or from the age of 5 or whatever. But the moment that eyes catch on them is the moment they become all kinds of. Cardi B and them niggas just made a song called WAP, and America, black women in particular, lost their rabbit mind because they was talking about some wet pussy on the song.
Who lost their mind? Who lost their mind?
Black women, black men, they call them all kinds of hoes.
Lose their damn mind, man.
I won't ever
only people who lost their mind is responsible men like myself. Those motherfuckers was dancing and singing that shit. You can miss me with that.
No,
only motherfuckers who gave pushed back was people like me, Willie, and I'm sure like my man Pope. Well, too many men like men. Women was dancing and singing that shit all along.
Now I'm telling you, not on large scale.
I'm sure they were in the churches and all singing that shit. I'm telling you.
There are two sides to the spectrum.
There were women celebrating, but there were also a lot of women who were condemning.
It's sexual liberation. It's they free. They sexually free. That wet ass pussy.
Here's the thing. The only way a person can ever be liberated. The only way a person can ever be liberated is if they're oppressed. And the only way liberation comes is through a fight. So if you're saying this is sexual liberation,
we have never oppressed black women. Black men have never oppressed black women. So
black men have never oppressed black women.
No, you can miss me with that color purple, that bull crap, brother. Ain't no way.
I'm not talking color purple.
We have never had the power and the resources to oppress black women.
We
oppress on our
women
scale.
That they're overweight, brother. We are afraid. Black men are terrified to tell the black women that they're overweight. We ain't oppressing nothing.
Right.
We're afraid to say, "Hey, baby, you overweight, and that's not good to bear children. You are too overweight to even healthily bring a child into this world." We're afraid to tell our 300-pound black women that they too big. When's the last time you heard a black man tell a black woman you were too big? There's 80% of black women are overweight.
And Jesse, I would also mention, like, when you mention the fact that you're a pastor and you've counseled people, I'm just saying that there's really levels to this. If you find yourself if you find yourself in church and you're being counseled and you're talking about my wife don't have this or don't have that, you probably never really got no A1 dime piece or freaks to begin with, because when a woman's approved.
Also not true.
You know when a woman's approved kind of quickly. So I'm not.
That I agree with.
So check this back. I mean, even back into what the topic is at hand. Now, if it may be a woman who's approved, who's not that, you know what I'm saying, she's not the type of freak it is that I want, you know what I'm saying, but she's good to me, you know what I'm saying. She fills me, fulfills certain other needs that I may have, and then on the other hand, I got this shorty around the corner, you know what I'm saying, that'll really do some things to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
it'll really do some things to me.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, listen, I need that in my life as well. I need that.
That literally is the essence of why I was saying I agree with the statement. I was taking unhappy, not as in they're sad or they're walking around depressed, ready to commit suicide or whatever. I'm taking unhappy as there's a void. So you got a woman who's good to you, she cooks for you or cleans for you, whatever it is that you require that fulfills certain needs, but then she's not sexually satisfying you. Or maybe she sexually satisfies you, but she's stupid and you want somebody you can talk to. Like there's what's called the 80-20 rule. The first person I ever heard talk about was T.D. Jakes, but I'm sure it existed long before that. You got somebody who's 80 but you want 100, and you got this other person who's 20. Because you're missing that 20, you'll feel like that 20 is the world. And so you have one of three options. You can either push yourself to be content. I'm sorry, one of four options. Push yourself to be content with the 80 and just be like, I'm just not going to get that 20. Leave the 80 and try to go find 100. Leave the 80 and go find the 20 and find out that 20 is way less than 80. Or try to balance the 80 and the 20. All of those scenarios, you're still dealing with, I got a void. And the problem with it, to kind of agree in this case with what Polk has been saying, the problem in that scenario is that we as men are not really allowed to express that. We're not allowed to really express that we're unhappy. We're not really allowed to express that things aren't going well, because as men we're looked at as fixers and we don't have problems. So we're supposed to fix their issue, but we're not allowed to have issues. This is why over the last few years it's just become a big thing, black men's mental health, because people have started to realize we got some issues and we need somebody to deal with. But there's still a void. It's not unhappiness. It's just as a void. That's really what it is. You're unfulfilled.
Real quick, you say a man needs. I think only a man that needs a woman is not in a financial position he wants to be in. He does not have a purpose. So he is looking for that purpose within a woman. Now, as far as we keep talking about Nick Cannon and guys like that, you cannot expect a man making that much money or in any tax bracket. If you're making over $250,000, and you can't expect that man to be monogamous unless you've been with him all along. If you just meet him, if there's no way in hell, you can't require that. You got to accept whatever deal he give you. And it's just that simple. Now,
and that's because he has as many options as he wants to. Is somebody willing to replace you, woman?
Them women can't meet Nick Cannon and expect him to be monogamous to them. They're getting the best deal possible, which is what they get.
No,
what's the alternative? Go kind of kids about game where you got Nug in the hood. That's the alternative.
So look, what else I hear?
But that's why he was so excited about Mariah Carey, because she's the only one. She's the only one that was, wait.
There you go.
The only one that was able to match him and exceed. No, he said to himself,
Mariah Carey is 60 years old. Ain't nobody worried about Mariah Carey.
Listen, you must not hear Nick Cannon talk. This nigga is still
20 years ago. He did what he had to do with Mariah.
He still talks about Mariah.
Nick ain't thinking about Mariah Carey, brother.
He still talks about Mariah because she's the only one of the women that he has dealt with that can either match his level or exceed her level.
Nick Cannon probably tied to her will, and he keeping good faith. Trust me, it's some bread. You crazy as hell. You think Nick Cannon worry about a 60-year-old woman? You crazy as hell.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the man said.
It's respect. It's a mutual respect there. Like you said, they built together, and he always says he should. He should put respect on that woman's name. They built together. She helped build his brand. At the same time, like Gavin said, he's much younger. She is 60 years old, and he is a millionaire out here in the world. Come on, man. Nobody trying to go home.
She's the only one he's dealt with that matches him. Like,
she's
the only one on every level.
And the menopause kicked in, and then
he what it is, man. But the only way for Mariah to keep that going was to be open to polygamy. That's my opinion. That's just an opinion. It's the only way. You're 60 years old. Y'all, come on, man. We got to be real. Seriously, we got to be real. She's 60 something. Nick Cannon is he ain't young. He's an adult, vibrant, healthy man.
What Nick Cannon, about 40?
43.
Yeah, come on.
43. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, we got to be real. We can't keep all this holier than thou. No.
So my next question is, I know we hear a lot of, and I know I'm not the only one. We hear a lot of women say, "Niggas ain't shit. All men cheat." Okay, yeah, I'm sure we've all heard a lot of that. You know what I mean? So my question though is, if that's really a woman's stance that all men cheat, then why? And I've seen this question asked on social media as well. Why leave that man because he's cheating just to go be with another man that's going to do the same exact thing?
Insane.
And be lesser than, most likely.
And be lesser than. But this is the thing, though. I hate to say this, but this all just seems like a damn game, because at the end of the day, they say that all men cheat, but guess what? All women cheat too. And how do we know that all women cheat? I mean, if they're going to say all men cheat, then we can definitely say all women cheat. How do we know that? Because we cheated with a woman, and that woman knew that I had her man. And fellas, you on the panel, how many of y'all have hit somebody else's woman? I mean, it happens all the time.
So and because you said that, though, I'm like, yo, because I listen, I'm with Shorty and her man calls, and she's still doing her thing. You feel me? So in the back of my mind, I'm automatically thinking like, damn, is this how my Shorty be when I call? Or like, look, when I used to work night shifts a long time ago, bro, night shift is not for anybody who feels like your Shorty might be doing something. Because you will be at night, losing your mind,
right?
Thinking that your girl's out there doing something. But I'm just saying, I have a lot of women associates. You know what I'm saying? Women friends, women associates, and I've always been very comfortable having conversations with women. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, it's just, I don't know. It's a little easier. Because I can have you guys on the panel, and Gavin and Willie, I've been on y'all show, and it's been pretty much all dudes, and I, conduct myself a certain kind of way. But I feel like things just run a little bit smoother when I'm talking to women. Like, I used an example before, like if I'm calling to pay a bill and I get a dude, I'll hang up. And so I get a woman to talk to, you know what I'm saying, and pay my bill that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, like a finesse. I don't know. It's just, I just rather talk to women. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? But in the back of my mind, I'm just like, and the crazy thing too is women, y'all are the sneakiest. And like I said, because of the female associates that I have and see how they move and operate in certain kind of things like that, I just be like, see, I would have been caught, but she's smooth. Her dude is never going to know that I come over here and do X, Y, and Z. He's never going to find out.
I literally just had this conversation with somebody. I work down at the cracker plant, and brothers come in from out of state, and so this brother coming from out of state, and at his hotel up by the mall, he's hitting the maze, right? And I'm just having this conversation with him. I'm like, bro, do you realize that these girls, dudes, would never even think for 1 second that they have a woman that go to work and just get piped down? Don't get nothing from it, just get piped down, right? If they thought that, they wouldn't be with them. See, but they cheat so smooth. They do things that you never would think. So the bottom line, all I'm trying to say is we all cheating, man.
And I also think too that in our society, for some reason, like you said, we can't say anything to women, because we'll be women bashers and we hate women and all of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I think we give women a lot of leniency that, oh, she's not going to do this to me. She wouldn't do this to me. Why would she do this to me, man? And God damn it, like you said, she at the hotel cleaning up rooms and meeting this nigga at his room at midnight or when he get off work, and then going home to her dude. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, Pope, I mean, we can all assume that we all cheat. Now, I think too is how many of us, they say, a man cannot handle what they dish.
And for sure. For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the reason, my reasoning for agreeing with that to an extent is because when I'm out, if because I like to call myself a reformed cheater. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would like to give the title of myself. You know what I'm saying? But I really forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, go ahead.
I can explain why men can't handle.
I'm sorry. That's where I was going. It's because when we do it, there's really no feelings into it for me. I don't give a fuck about her. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't give a shit if she ate. I don't give a fuck how her day was. I don't give a motherfucker how her kids is doing. None of that. I don't care. But for the most part, now Marian, tell me if I'm not saying that you cheated, but just to have this sexual attachment to a man. More times than not, you actually like this dude. There's something about him you like. So for a man to be like, damn, my shorty was cheating on me, she likes him. You know what I'm saying? She likes him. She probably talking shit to him, about me to him. You know what I'm saying? Like more times than not, we don't do that. We just want to do our thing and be up out of there. Hey,
That's just
next
the
time
ones
I
that y'all
talk to
don't
you,
know of.
the next time I call you is the next time I'm gonna want to have some sexual gratification. Y'all be talking to the nigga on your work breaks, on the ride home. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my man just went to the grocery store. He went and got some gas. You calling him, you texting him. You know what I'm saying? That type of deal. So I feel like that's a reason of why it's harder for men to accept.
That's just the ones that y'all know of.
I want to say something real quick. I think if a woman is cheating on a man, that shows how much she hates that man and how much she don't respect you. It has nothing to do with the other motherfucker, the guy she cheating with. It's all about you. So if a woman's cheating on you, she hates your ass. Real shit.
But you don't feel the same way about if a man cheats on a woman, we don't hate her. We can actually really
like you
still
said,
love
it's
her.
not emotion. It's not an emotional attachment.
Okay.
But for a woman cheat on a man, she hates your ass. And whether it's in that moment or whatever, but you got to eat that.
That's
Indeed.
the wonderful thing about the, about the divide. That go ahead, Poke. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I mean, but considering though, every time we hit somebody else's woman, they always do speak really, really fucking bad about the dude that she's with. So he's probably telling the goddamn truth there, because I mean, I've been in situations before where I was with somebody and her dude called, and I could tell by the way they're talking to each other that, yeah, she hates this dude. You know what I mean? In that moment. You know what I mean? But that's a really, really funny thing, man. Have you guys ever like been with somebody and they get a phone call from their dude, and the way they flip it on them and shit? That shit is wild as hell.
And then how some people are programmed though, it's like, yo, when this phone ring, be quiet. Don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear nothing.
That's the interesting divide that you're dealing with. When women cheat, it's not always because of emotion or, like Gavin said, because they hate the dude. Women oftentimes cheat just because the sex that they was getting ain't good and they want some better sex. It's not always about they like the dude that they cheat with. They cheat. But I keep the same energy in the flip. The reality is it's still a void. She's got a void she needs to be filled. She ain't getting no good dick. He got a void he want to feel. It's not good to him, or whatever the void may be, because it may not always be sexual. But it's not accurate to say, even on large scale, that women only cheat because of emotion. That's not true. They cheat for the same reasons men cheat. The truth is, and I'll put this in a quick biblical perspective, men and women are not different.
Ooh.
We are the exact. If you take it from now, wait, hold on. If you take now,
get some context. Now, don't just say that. Get some real context.
I'm getting ready to. I'm getting ready to give context.
Don't give us biblical context. Give me some real life context.
No, because I'm coming from a Christian perspective.
I understand.
I can't deal with. I can't deal with if somebody believes in any other religion. I can only speak from the Christian perspective.
That's what I'm saying. We got to speak on earth, please.
But you got to realize, for me, Christianity is earth. So
I look
at it when I look at creation.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
When I look at creation, Bible says that woman was taken from man's rib and formed. That means everything he being Adam, was in woman as well. There's no difference. No, that's what is literally written biblically. That woman was taken from his rib.
Yes,
right? So
but it doesn't say that they are exactly the same. And like I said,
so I'll give it to you exactly the same. If you go back even before the creation, the Bible says, "Let us create man in our own image, in the image of God. He created them, male and female. His image, who he is, that puts them all in one perspective."
What was Adam's first wife? What was she created from? What was Lilith created from?
So when you get into Lilith, who people don't think most Christians know about, because most Christians don't know about.
I know
Lilith
you know.
Lilith was not Adam's first wife. You'll never find anywhere that says that she was. She existed, but you'll never find she was his first wife.
You sure about that?
The battle that actually happens between Lilith and Eve is not about whether or not she was Adam's first wife or not. The actual battle that happens is whether or not Adam and Eve were the first people or the only people.
brother.
Because this thing I do. If there's nothing else I do, this thing I do. For when people talk about Lilith, the actual doctrinal or even philosophical battle. No, she was never. Lilith was never.
She was not Adam's first wife.
No, she was not.
Okay.
What you'll find is when people talk about Lilith, those who understand who Lilith was, the battle is whether or not Adam and Eve were the first people, or whether Lilith and people were.
Did he remove Lilith from the garden and then make Eve after he removed Lilith because she was disobedient to Adam?
No.
Because she thought she was equal to Adam, like you saying. Lilith thought she was equal to Adam. God removed her.
That was what.
Then he made Eve. Then he made a woman from his rib to be his helpmate. And trust me, I'm a man who's never been to church in my goddamn life, and I can recite that to you. But go ahead.
So here's what you're reciting wrong, because you're talking to somebody who grew up in the church, studies the church, and been doing it. Hold on. I'll let you get it out. You talk to somebody who does this and been doing it for 30 plus years, bro. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. You are conflating two separate things and trying to make it one. Lilith was not the one who thought she was equal to Adam. It is interpreted that woman, i.e. Eve, thought she was equal to Adam because of the curse that was actually laid upon her after she ate the fruit. She was cast out. Both woman, i.e. Eve, and Adam were cast out. There was no casting out of the garden before those two. When you get into where Lilith becomes, people begin to ask the question, no, this is biblical. What you get into is what the Bible is not clear about, and what has become something that has been taught is that Adam and Eve were first, which I believe. But there was also where I break off is because where you finally find Lilith biblically, you'll find Lilith and other people, and they're mentioned biblically, but no one knows where the heck they came from.
Brother, don't you know how many unwritten books of the Bible have been removed? You bring it. It's so much unwritten scribes, brother. They removed all that shit. But if you bring some King James Bible, you gotta miss me with that, brother.
There we go. And there we go. That is the King James Bible. We are reading a Bible, and it could be holy manuscript. But understand that a man, please understand that a man that saw you, brother, a black man, to be inferior and a dog, he wrote this version of the Bible.
You know what kills me about that
argument?
The
homosexual slave owner. Seriously.
He was absolutely all of that.
The King James version is his.
He was absolutely all of that. But you know what kills me about that argument is the Bible is the only book that we use that it was made by man or the white man argument. It's the only book we use that for. You don't use that for your math books. You don't use it for science books. You don't use it for the Quran. We don't use it for the Torah. We'll use it for none of the other books. We don't use it for none of the other books. We have found our history. We have found history has been jacked up by white folks. We folk are just now finding out that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America, but we don't talk about that.
But when we talk about math, I mean that's something that's kind of universal.
I mean math. Come on now, but we talk.
All of the books that we learn from, especially in this country, were written by some white man.
We have been
the Bible is the only one, and the Bible is the only one that we question. And then you have people. Then you have someone like myself who will come on into a conversation who not only goes from the Bible, who goes from my own personal experience. See, I don't deal with just having read the Word of God and be like, oh, well, the Bible and Jesus and Christianity is right. I go from the experiences that I have. I've called on His name. I've prayed. I've seen what happens when God intervenes in my life. I see what happens when Jesus Christ does what He does. When I teach folk, I don't teach folk just about the Word. I teach folk how to have a relationship with Jesus Christ for themselves so they can hear Him for themselves. I'm not just teaching Genesis to Revelations. Jesus said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. The word proceeds means continuously. The Bible was written, so it's not continuously proceeding. So I need the Bible along with hear the voice of God for myself. You can't hear the voice of God for yourself until you submit yourself and come into an equation where you are willing to believe that He is God. That's how that works. That's just what it is. Yes. Some folk will catch it, some folk won't.
Each his own. When you start breaking down, each his own.
Because I see Cuz is quiet over there. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm sorry, Marian. I'm stepping on your toes all day.
She ain't saying very much. and I know a whole lot was said, and because I know you, you know, I know you got something to say. I know you do. So come on with it. From whatever was discussed, I know you have something to say, because again, you're on here because you're family, you know what I'm saying, and I love having you on the show. But I love to have a woman's perspective on things that men are talking about.
Definitely need it. We can't be an echo chamber.
That's what it would turn into. I mean, first of all, there's two things. I am the other Christian on this platform right now. But I also know, coming on this, correct me if I'm wrong, platform, that I am not going to be with people who believe the same things as me. So I didn't come on here to argue religion. I speak my truth from what I believe and what my faith is. And I didn't come on here to argue or to save nobody. And so I wouldn't want anybody to come and try to get me to disavow who I deem as my God. So,
but even as far as when we were talking about just the emotional part of when women are with other men, you know, outside of who is it they claim to be committed to. Now, as a woman,
and again, misogynistic things being said on here too about what all women.
Well, let's talk about it. Because you know, just like we all grew up outside of Pope, you know, but you know, he's still a Beaver County guy. In the town that we come from, we see a lot of that, and this is a very small town. So, you know, when of course we can't put all women in one particular box, but when you see certain women that all hang together, what they say,
birds of feathers, because there's certain women who I won't hang.
And there are exceptions to it, but for the most part, the same type of women, you know, even with dudes, you know what I'm saying. Thieves usually run with thieves, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. So, again, we know it's not all women, but a lot of women cheat as well. And again, I feel like I said before, it could be for a multitude of reasons, but I really feel like it's because, most women aren't opening themselves to a guy that they don't like at all. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of, okay, the dude I'm with, the sex isn't good, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go and find something that's better. But you like him. You're just not giving him your box because you think it might be better. You like him.
No, that's not always true. It depends on where that woman is in her life. So that's one thing that we can say about, especially now in 2022. I'll say, as an 80s born, 90s raised baby or kid, an 80s baby, 90s kid. Now we are in the 2022. Women do have a lot more sexual freedom, and not everybody that women sleep with, in general, they actually are like them or in love them, whatever. There are some women, in some women who are in some stages of their life, who just want good D. That's it. Especially if they had been with somebody who didn't satisfy them.
So I'm glad you said that, because, you know, of course, you're the only woman on this panel, but I've been told by women how hard it is to find good D. It's very difficult. So outside of the money, even if this dude doesn't have a lot of money, whatever the case is, hey, this dude gives me some grade A penis. And even though he may be doing what he's doing out in the streets, I don't want to lose this, because it's extremely difficult for me to find. You know what I'm saying? That. So, and again, I don't want to put you under a microscope or anything, but how do you feel about that? Is it difficult? Is it really that difficult to find? Because there's a lot of dudes out here.
So, I mean, you have my personal experience versus like the general senses that I've gotten from being in community with other women. I know a lot of women who are 34 who have not had an orgasm yet. That is not my testimony. So, like, I guess I've been blessed. I don't know, in my situation. I haven't had that issue. And so I haven't had to make that decision. I haven't had to sacrifice other things because it's hard time. That's not something that I've had to live But I do know women who, for them, it's hard. The dudes that they cook with, they just trash in the bed. And I don't know what I would do if that was my lived experience.
And that is a deal breaker for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I can understand why to a certain extent. But then we also talked about, whether you could teach somebody or whatever. I am of that ilk that certain things can be taught.
I disagree 100% because there's a lot of listen. If a shorty gives me head a certain kind of way, I don't know what she's doing. I can't teach you that. I can't teach you to do what she just did to me.
But she can choose. But somebody who does not give good head can go out. There are plenty of ways, plenty of education out there that is not necessarily Pornhub. Plenty of education out there to learn how to do it right.
Look, you can do it right and all of that, but it may not be the way that I like it.
Then you gotta say articulate what you like. Like that's the problem.
And I understand that, and I feel like you can articulate the best that you know how, and she just can't. She just can't get it.
To get grazed, I was like, "What is this?"
Wait, what about graze?
I just found out a couple days ago that some men like to get grazed.
No, like that doesn't even make sense to me, dog. Like, come on, man. Nobody wants teeth marks or anything like that.
My point is, people like different stuff, and my homegirl would have never found that out if a dude never told her, like, "Yo, that's cool." Like,
different people like at the same time, I also think it's a trial and error thing as well. Like when you're with somebody for a certain amount of time, you start to understand and know, what their body reacts to. And that's what I was talking about earlier as far as, sex before marriage. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know if, first off, I kind of do feel like you probably need to live together before you take that step. I honestly do feel like that because it's like, it may be things that I can't do. I didn't know this side of you. Or a lot of people will say is go on vacation for about a week. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you'll be able to see if you can possibly handle, living with this person. But
there's an old person's cliche that says you should try to be with a person through 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's really all. That's really for a total year, but 4 seasons of life, so you can see them in all aspects of how they. You have an opportunity to see all aspects of how they react.
Because I definitely need to see you upset. That is something I need to see. Because I need to know if I can handle you when you get pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to destroy the crib? You know what I mean? Are you going to, bust the windows out my car because you're upset? Like, what are you going to do when you get to a certain level of being angry? I need to see that. Like Jesse said, you need for those 4 seasons. I need to see it. I need to see it all. You know what I mean? Because you have a lot of people who be like, I didn't even know he was like that because he kicking your ass now. You know what I'm saying? You had absolutely no idea that this. But I feel like there's signs of that. I don't feel like a man just comes out of nowhere and just starts beating you up. I feel like there are red flags to show that this is what happens. Like, I don't know if anybody's seen that with Tia Mallory and her. Is that the one that got divorced from the dude? And when they were having that little interview or whatever the case is, that she kind of cut him off. And the way that he looked at her, it was like, oh, yeah, he probably be beating her ass when she be cutting him off. You know what I'm saying? Like those little telltale signs and stuff that you see like that. But yeah, man, even I guess we kind of got a little. Go ahead.
I just feel that when we talk about, learning, we were talking about sex and if you, can you learn and all that stuff. I don't feel like we as a society in today's age give relationships or marriages enough chance, like enough time to grow and to work things out. I think it's like, yo, this ain't working. I gotta go. Like,
because a lot of people be like, hey, I'm not getting no younger either. Do I want to? How much time do I want to waste here if I know this is not going to work out?
And there's different. Because I've known people. There's some people who I wish would give. Look, no, I don't want to get in trouble. Never mind. I ain't gonna say that. But there are some people. There are some people who I wish would get a divorce. There are people that I know I've known that I watched as adults. There's people that I know now as while I am an adult who are married, and I'm just like, whew. And I am an advocate for marriage, a staunch advocate for marriage.
Like the people who get congratulated from leaving toxic relationships. You hear about that? Like, I'm so happy for you that you got out of that.
Or do y'all both need to humble yourselves and figure out how you can make this work? That's the thing. Like, there's nuance in everything. You can't just paint everything with broad strokes.
I mean, I think it depends. Like, we said before, I mean, people grow, and it's like, especially if you enter a relationship really young, you know what I mean? Your early 20s, late, high school sweethearts or whatever the case is. You may not feel the same way about this person at 25 or 35 as you did at 21, 22 years old. You know what I mean? So yeah, everything worked out back then, but sometimes I feel like relationships just run their course, and it's sometimes you just need to call it quits. No matter how hard we work to make this, to make this work, it's just we trying to fit a square into a circle hole, or a circle into a square hole. You know what I'm saying? Like,
then I would wonder if, well, and this might be a new concept, I'm not sure, but when it comes to marriage, like, there's a lot of work that has to go into before you get married. And so if you are, because I do think relationships do run their course, but did you do the work ahead of time before you said I do to make sure that this is someone that you're willing to stick it out for? So, yeah.
So I feel now, and this may be a little on top, and I think I may do something about this later on another show, but we hear a lot of people being in relationships for 10, 15 years with no marriage, and what a lot of people don't like, I know for me, for example, like, don't give me no ultimatum. If it's going to be, hey, I want to be, we've been together for this amount of years, I expect to be married no later than another year or two from now. Just leave me. That's how I feel.
I think conversations, I think not everything is an ultimatum. To me, that's not, well.
Yeah, it's an ultimatum. You do this, you either marry me or I'm leaving.
Together. Yeah, so like, you can't be in something like 5-6 years and be like, okay, you need, I don't believe in that either. Yeah, like, okay, we've been here, so you need to marry me or I'm leaving. But at year one, when y'all get together, what does this look like? What are we working towards? Like, anybody that I date knows that what I expect off rip. And I'm not waiting 5 years.
And see, for me, as I've gotten older, I have been realistic with myself to tell people, like, listen, I don't really see myself being married, and if that's something that you want to do, I don't want to feel like I'm wasting your time. And if you're cool how things is going and all, then we good. Go ahead, Jesse.
So I was literally going to say that exact same thing. It is a matter of conversation. People don't have conversations before they start calling themselves into relationships. The reality is, before you even deal with a relationship, you should date. People go out on a date and a half, and all of a sudden, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend, that's my boo.
Negative.
You ain't never had no real conversation. And so through the course of dating, you get to, one, know what you like about this person, know what you don't like about this person, have the conversations of, well, I'm looking to get married. I'm never getting married. Is that a deal breaker? And then you can
probably
walk away.
I would say.
Now, my only issue with these relationships where people are like, well, we've been in a relationship 10, 15 years and ain't married, is it's practically stupid. I say that only because neither party is really protected. So you with this dude, you've been with him for 15 years, taking care of the home, taking care of him. If y'all got kids, you helping to take care of the kids, helping build this stuff with this man. He gets sick and goes into the hospital. You know what the nurses can't do? Have a conversation with you. You know what happens when it comes to life or death decisions? You have absolutely no voice. So that piece of paper, in terms of just a practical standpoint, gives her and or him power over the family. The mom.
There's ways around that, though, correct?
No,
there's ways around that. You can make somebody power of attorney.
You know how hard it is to do that. So to make somebody power of attorney there are still some things that you have to go in that make it very difficult and can be very expensive depending on how you do it. And I know this on two fronts. One, I work in that field. Two, with my mother, she didn't have a power of attorney. She didn't have a power of attorney or a medical power of attorney. And so we had to scramble to be able to have certain decisions made because the hospital was looking for her husband and he's dead. Then they were like, so where's the parents? They're dead. So it's us and it's her sisters. And if you're going to talk about who has the power to be able to make certain decisions, do certain things, it's us, her sons. And we had to fight for that so that my oldest brother Joshua could be able to do that. So there is power in the ability to be able to just have that piece of paper. Then you're talking about, okay, you've been together 15 years, y'all done built this stuff up. Okay, now what happens if y'all separate? Now one of y'all is out because generally speaking, a lot of states in this country are not common law states anymore. Common law is almost becoming a thing of the past where automatically each person gets 50-50. That's becoming a thing of the past now. So now you with this dude for 15 years, you did help him build everything, and because most of us as black folks, we don't deal with wills on whole scale. We're not really good at that. So we don't have the wills, we don't have that stuff in place. Now y'all split. Or now whatever happens, she's out. Whether you die or y'all split up, she's out. She didn't put 15 years in this relationship and gets nothing. And that has happened time and time again with a lot of celebrities as well. They've with these cats for a lot of years with no ring, no piece of paper, and no agreement. And because it ends badly, the other party's out. So that's in terms of a practical standpoint, that's my only issue with non-marriage and just a practical standpoint. But if you want to be together with somebody for 15 years and that's just what you want to do, that's what you want. That ain't my problem. Just know you might be unprotected in the end.
Now, why do we feel like people don't want to be married?
I was gonna get in here real quick before I got to roll, but
no, go ahead. My fault.
Real quick on the 10-year relationship there, I don't believe in that. We kind of was talking about that the other day, and I think people are getting married for the wrong reasons, right? Most people are getting married for love, and love is fleeting. It's a temporary feeling. You're supposed to get married for duty, respect, honor, all those type of things. And I think a man knows if he has a wife on his hands, right? So no man is going to be with a woman for 10 years if you're truly a wife. So there's something going on with you, because I that's my personal thought.
Wait, there's something going on with who? The man?
The woman.
Okay. Right. Of why he won't marry her,
or why anyone won't marry her.
Okay.
Because if he won't marry her, she can go find the next man that he will marry her, right? But why won't anyone? Shit, it's simple. We can't complicate it. So if you're with this woman and this is what you desire, so either you with a woman and she just ain't what you desire, whether, and we kind of talked about, finding a woman not where you're from, like leaving home to find a wife. We did an episode on that. It's simply because you may know this woman's dirty laundry, and no matter how much you may like her, you may not ever marry her because she fucked your cousin, right?
Not gonna happen.
So let's just be real, man. It just goes on in the community. So or maybe you're just not what he desired. Maybe you're a little bit overweight, whatever the case may be, and you ain't willing to work on yourself to make yourself a wife. Maybe you wasn't raised a wife. I mean, there's so many variables. And also, I mean, you could put it right back on the men. Most men ain't husbands. So you dating a man who's not even a husband, right? Which most men ain't. Let's be honest. Shit, we ain't gonna shy away from that. So most women are dating. Y'all dating 30% of men and then saying all men ain't shit. That's bullshit. Them 30% of men y'all dating and having kids with ain't shit. You can't put that on all men, So I think that's what, women start getting the bitter, and then you look around, it's like, y'all got kids by the same motherfucker. Ain't no way. And then we start talking about man without resources. So you telling me if all these women in the community had fucking Nick Cannons as their baby daddy, we have all the violence and motherfuckers run around shooting acting crazy. That'd still be going on, right? No, fuck no.
Good point.
It's because Nug's doing it. He has no resources. He can't do anything for his family. It's just that simple. If Nick Cannon was knocking up every woman in the community, or brothers like Nick Cannon, there will be no violence. There will be a lot of maybe unhappy, bitter women, but the kids, and there will be no violence. Everybody will be raised correctly with resources. Wouldn't nobody be running around shooting at each other?
Okay,
I mostly agree with that. Mostly, not totally, but mostly.
Okay. Because Marian, it looked like you had something to say.
I'm still on that parenting takes more than just materials and money. So that's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what.
But it takes at least one. We
that.
gotta agree. It takes at least. We gotta quit saying that. That's obvious. But it takes at least one, and most of these kids are being raised without either. So if we can get just one of either, we can start there. We can't just say, no, because most of these kids don't got parents or money. They just it's the Wild West. So if you can at least have a parent with resources, I'll take that. If I was growing up at a parent with resources and not just the neglect, I would have took that. But to have both, fuck that.
Let's have another conversation for 15 years to make sure that none of Nick Cannon's kids end up like King Harris.
Well, the question is, is Nick Cannon gonna go broke taking care of him? Because here's the thing, like to that portion of the point, I agree with Gavin in this case. Biblically, the Bible says that money answers all things. That's a scripture that people don't often quote, don't often deal with, don't often talk about. Money
will
answers
solve 99.9% of my problem.
It says
doubt.
all
No
things.
doubt about it.
There's no problem that a person can have in this life that money cannot solve. You sick, money can get you better health care and extend your life. You got crime issues, money can get you to a better neighborhood or get you better police or whatever that helps stop the crime. So yeah, we do have to stop acting like money doesn't solve the issue.
Even if you are a man who was never good with women ever, come into some paper. You're gonna
get some. No matter what the issue is, money can solve it. So yes, resources absolutely, fundamentally, especially when you're talking about a family, is absolutely 100% of that will solve most of every issue you'll come into a family. You do need the balance to have.
Do you feel like everybody has a price?
No.
Okay.
I don't think
I have brought up a situation not too long ago about if a man wanted my significant other for a night and he about to pay me, he got a blank check. Mm-hmm. Hey, write what you want on there. Hey, baby, you better go over there and do that thing. You know what I'm saying? We're about to
the movie Indecent Proposal. They made a whole
too,
movie about that.
What I'm saying? Correct. And I was also told, I guess there's a TV series about it too. But I had this conversation with women too. They're like, no, I'm not sharing my man for no. Why?
There's a value on it.
We have no resources right now. We have no resources. We are broke.
It depends on what your value is.
And all of this man wants to do, or all of this woman wants to do, is have me for
me and my wife joke a lot.
Hours. We about to be millionaires.
Me and my wife joke a
12
lot.
Hours.
You quit. There's no. We are nowhere near rich. We are in high Atlanta, where rent and everything is sky high. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment, paying almost $2,000. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
And I am not making nowhere near that to pay it by myself. 100% off. But there's no amount of money any man could try to give me, any man, woman, doesn't matter, can try to give me for me to share what's most valuable to me. Now, same token, however, if she chose to go herself, I ain't gonna be mad at it. But I'm not gonna be the one to be like, "Hey, I'm not making that decision." Yeah, I'm not gonna. Now she chooses to go. Hey, bring you and the money back. But I'm not going because she's my. I'm not pimping her out. No, I know that sounds crazy, but
Come on, bro.
All right. So we gotta learn how to get down to the business of things. Marriage is basically business.
Correct.
And for somebody to say, you know what, there is no amount that someone can give me. A man can't give me $1 billion for this to go down. But if she was to do it on her own, I ain't gonna be tripping. That makes absolutely zero sense. At what point are we gonna get down to the business of things? And I'm listening to everybody. We're so sexually driven. Everything is about sex with us. Everything. Oh, I'm not happy with the sex. I'll just go somewhere else. Oh, I'm not happy with the sex. Listen, man, if you come together as a union, the whole idea is for business and economic building purposes. So I can deal with some bad sex if everything else is fucking on point. If we can build together, I'm not going to stress about the sex that much, but that is not our reality. Our women and our men will leave a relationship over some sex. Our men and our women won't get married over some sex. You could come together with a woman that is economically going to help you build something, or a woman could come in contact with a man that's going to economically help her build something. And this is what that video was about that you were showing. She clearly said, man, he provides, he does X, Y, and Z, but babe, I just can't start fucking them. What the hell is that? And then she thinks she's a valuable woman. You're a woman of low virtue. You don't have the ability to realize when there's business on the table and time for duty and time to build a legacy. Everything's about sex. But at the same time, if I'm with a woman and she's my wife, and I have a business proposal, and you're talking about I'll give you millions of dollars to have a night with your wife, that's what Sherazade Al-Z was talking. When your ego and when your what she say, jealousy comes into it. You just don't want to give your wife up because of your ego and jealousy. It ain't about that's what's most valuable to you, because you follow that up by saying if she did it on her own, I'd be okay. Well, if she did it on her own, you should be heartbroken.
That's because I don't control her. No, I won't give her up because so I'll put it in the same context as we have a family ring that my mom gave to us after my dad died. Right? He always wanted our family to have a ring. Now you're going to
explain this stuff.
No, because I'm talking value. So this ring is value. It's a cheap ring. It probably costs $200 maybe. In terms of how much rings cost, where most people talk about expensive ring, it's not an expensive ring, right? There's no amount of money you could pay me to take that for me to give you that ring. None. It has a value to me, but I own that ring. My wife, I don't own, so I won't stop her from going because I don't own her. But for me to be like, yeah, go ahead and do it. No, I'm not going to. There's too much value to me.
Brother
I can't
Jesse,
control whether she values herself or not.
Brother Jesse, that's fair. That's fair. I heard everything you said. But what I want to say, bro, is when I marry a woman, I want to at least know that I marry a woman that when we get this proposal, I don't have to force her. I don't have to pimp her. We understand that this is a great business opportunity to create a fucking legacy for us to build economic wealth. We just spent this time talking about how broke we are and how much money we don't have. And you're telling me that this night is going to stop you from building your family wealth?
Sometimes you got to realize all money ain't good money.
That's a no-go to me. All money ain't good money, but this money is, because we spent the whole show talking about. Hold on.
It depends on your mindset with it.
Brother, please, let me finish my thought. We just spent the whole show talking about how everybody's cheating. We just spent the whole show talking about how people will walk out and do X, Y, and Z. Okay? So when you say all money ain't good money, this money is good money, because this money will build economic wealth for our family legacy for a night.
The generational wealth.
No, yeah, generational wealth.
12 hours.
No, nobody's saying be a porn star. Being a porn star down, that's not good money, because now you're creating a lifestyle. Okay? But if we're talking about an act for a night, come on, man. We all have committed bad acts in a night. So
and we didn't get paid for it.
And we didn't get paid for it. So I'm talking about business now. And that's one thing black people, man, we like why do we lack business in our relationships?
And you're right, it is about business, but again, I still stand on all money ain't good money, because here's the reality of the situation. That money that may build legacy may also bring in toxicity. That money that may build legacy may also cause you to turn on to a lifestyle. This is why, for me, that's too much value to me. I'm not going to stop her if she chooses to go, but I'm not going to be the one to send out. I do agree that marriage is about business.
Are you
Matter
going to
of fact,
spend
when I
that money
counsel,
though?
So
that's why I said that's why I said bring it back home. Listen, I'm not stupid. Bring it back home, but I'm saying I'm not going to be the one to send out.
If you're not going to be the one to send her out, who's leading here?
Oh, I most definitely leave my house, but just because I lead don't mean I own. You can lead
so
this.
Let me get this right.
Okay,
Let me get this right. So you're saying you lead, but you're not going to send her out. But if she decides to go out, you ain't gonna stop her.
So all leaders when they lead, they don't control. No, all leaders when they lead you don't control a leader. A real leader does not control their people. A real leader teaches and instills and imparts into the people they lead. And so when they do lead and decide to go to a direction, the hope is that I've instilled enough in you that you will follow my lead. But when you are a leader, you recognize everybody ain't following your lead. Everybody's not going to go the direction you want them to go. Whether you're talking about church, whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about the civil rights movement, whether you're talking about this country and the president of the United States, no matter what area of leadership you're talking about, everybody you lead ain't going to go. So it's a matter of because I don't control you, you grown. Make a grown person's decision and deal with the grown person's consequence. However, at the same time, I'm not leaving that direction. Now you choose to come on back. I'm not going to send you. I'm not going to throw you away because you went out and chose to come back and did what you felt was best. But but as a leader, no. But that's just me. I do agree, however, that marriage is about business, and the issue in the black community is, as a whole, because we're not taught business principles, we don't know about business anyway. We marry for love, which is crazy. You ought to marry for what do I bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? And are we compatible enough for now and to grow 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road?
Oh, you better not ask a woman what she brings to the table.
But that's because it's only in the black community we had that bull crap. It's only in the black community we had that bull crap. Most white folks don't go through that mess. Most Asian folks don't go through that mess. Most Africans don't go through that crap. No, not on large scale. Not like us. No. What you can ask a white man can ask a white woman, what do you bring to the table? Why should I allow you to be part of my legacy?
You can't really
I deal with Europeans too. Europeans they have that. We are the only country, and especially black folks are the only race within the country. But no, we're the only race within that country that pushes that. Because you listen. So you mean to tell me that Tom Brady when him and Giselle got together.
We can't talk about celebrities. We can't keep putting. Can't talk about
I can give you celebrities. I can give you people you don't know. I can go either way. I can give you people you don't know or give you celebrities. I'm trying to give you something that you can actually see.
Brother Jesse, you're filibustering, man. I mean,
that's not a filibuster.
Listen, because it's going on and on. At the end of the day, we're the only ones that don't do that shit. Everybody, you don't see not celebrities, but you don't see a wealthy white girl marrying black dudes. They might like some black dick, but that don't mean they're gonna marry black dudes. You know why? Because their parents don't allow that. To a certain degree, they do arrange their marriages. Yes. It's business.
No, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Brother, we're the only people that don't do that. You're right.
It's business first. We are the only ones. We get married over sex and just that emotional love shit. Everybody else, Asians. When's the last time you seen a well-to-do Asian hook up with one of us and marry us? Hell no. That's
literally what I was saying.
Listen, I have a cousin, Winky.
I know.
Lives over in Shanghai. He's the man over there. He's in a band.
You're always going to have an outlier to the.
He told me.
That's why I say I'm never talking about all. I'm
Asian women over there love black men. That's what he said.
Is he a passport bro or what? What are we talking?
Is he a what?
Is he a passport bro? It's men right now leaving the country in search of their wives. You know what I mean?
I think I believe he went
black
over
men in particular
for business.
Yeah, black men are sort of over black women, and they get their passports and they going to find their wives in Colombia.
I don't believe that that's the case, but he just said, what I mean, black men.
No, it's going on. It's a thing. It's a thing.
It is absolutely a thing.
Marcus, you're right. They do love. Listen. On the whole planet, black men is the most desirable man on the planet.
There you go.
So absolutely, they love us. But my question to you is, how many brothers do you see getting married to these white or Asian women that come from families of influence? That's not going to happen. No, they like us for that night. They like us for the day.
And if they do try to, and coming from a family like you was talking about,
they get cut off.
There's this ownership coming.
Right.
But at the same time, men don't marry for resources. That's why you get passport bros who can leave the country, go to fucking country in Asia or wherever they're going, and get a beautiful wife that they couldn't get in America, and she's submissive, cooperative, and whatever they want. And then you know what I mean. He get that. If that woman came to America, she would want a millionaire man. But he could be like, I make $80,000, and I got the woman that millionaire men want.
But that's because again, he's looking for what are you bringing to the table. Every business relationship is not always about the monetary. It's what do you bring that can help build me. So he is a man who's making the $80,000, can't get a woman.
Well, with women, it's always about money.
Who goes overseas and can find a submissive woman. He's looking for someone who will submit, and your submission to me will help build me up in whatever way. All I was saying was, which is why I literally was agreeing with you, is that it's business, but the business is what do you bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? We don't have those conversations. It is about how good's the orgasm, how good you look, whether it's male or female, and we want to marry either for lust or for love, but that's not really, even in a Christian sense, that's not really what the design of marriage was. It's never was its purpose. You can grow. Love is literally a choice. You can choose to love somebody or not.
I think you conflating things. I think, like I said, women absolutely do marry men for money and resources. You don't see broken, dusty men getting married in drones. And men marry women or not for their resource, for how you look and how you treat them and what you
fucking your femininity. Women marry some trash men, some
where
men. It happens a lot more than you think, Doc. I promise you.
Like give me a percentage. Don't just say that.
We're well-to-do
women.
Dusty men.
I couldn't give you a number.
There's no stat that's out there that I know of that.
Because it's not happening. Well, I think it's less than 1% of marriages. I guarantee you.
So for the most part, how it goes is a high value man, he will marry or deal with a woman who doesn't have as much and upgrade her life. For the most part, women who making six figures or more, they're not checking for a dude or trying to upgrade a dude's life that he's making $35. He's an Amazon driver. He's a
in this new generation.
I've heard of me. She wanted a man making $150,000 now. You got to make more than me.
They would say in this new generation,
she making $100,000. She want a man making $200,000. It's that simple.
Now they'll say he needs to make as much money as me or more.
In this new generation, that's more. In this new generation,
don't fool you.
She don't care if it's $1, that's more true. In this new generation, that's more true than previous generations. That I concede. But as a whole, you still do see it in this new generation. Women are more on the come up, but that's because there's been the resurgence of what people call the independent woman, and I don't need a man, and all this other stuff. Those things have been a huge surge, so women are doing that more. So yes, I can see that in this new generation. But as a whole, you still will see in this country more so than anything else. You still will see that happen on occasion. What I believe Poke was talking about, and I know what I'm talking about, is the reality of it is it's still what are you bringing to the table? Bring something to the table that helps elevate me, and I help elevate you, so we can build this. Everybody talk about building legacy, building for the future, and we trying to build together and get this together, and nobody is being practical, at least in our community, about what that takes to do it. It don't take.
So I want to ask Marian real quick. Of course, you don't speak for all women, but how do you? We'll ask you specifically. Are you okay with dating a man who makes considerably less money than you? Are you cool with him driving your car and dropping you off at work?
Yeah, so we're not doing the baby boy thing.
I'm just saying. If you're trying to help him get to a certain level in life, and he don't have no car, and he needs to use yours to, help his finances, are you letting him drop you off at work and coming to pick you up? Or are you dealing with him at all because he's making, like I said, you make 65,000, he makes 25,000. Are you okay with that?
I will have questions like, why are you making $25,000 as a grown man?
Shit.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
like,
those are just numbers that I'm throwing out there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but say I make 60 and he makes 40. I would ask what the plan is. I'm sitting here listening to y'all, and I do have friends who are like, no, like my one friend, she's a 6-figure. She was in education. She said she would not date a teacher.
And I bring this up because Marian and Polk, I remember you guys were on a show before when we went into a man being a bus driver. You know what I'm saying? And Polk was saying, other nationalities, they're okay with their man doing whatever he's doing as long as, things are running smoothly in the home. But Marian, I remember you saying something like, okay, well, how long are you going to be a bus driver? How long is it going to be before you own these buses and own these companies? So he always needs to level up. There's never going to be.
That is less of because you got to make more than me, and more of I value growth. I value legacy. I value.
I don't want to cut you off, Mary, but if a woman have to ask a man about your financial status, throw in the towel, brother. You have lost. And a woman, she's already, that's not her position. So if a woman is questioning your finances, that ain't the woman for you. I promise you.
That has to be a conversation before we even get together is my thing. Like,
well, okay, as far as you saying, like, what is your plan? If you ask a man what his plan is, he need to bow out because that shouldn't even be.
I don't understand why I shouldn't have an understanding.
I think there should be talks about if you're going to.
Because that's like over like motherly. You can't can't be that domineering over a man. Either that ain't the man for you, or you got to find a man that's equally yoked for you. You can't be asking this man, what's your plans? How you gonna make more money? You can't talk to a man like that. Not a real man. You're not gonna respect that man or honor that man.
I would not word it like that. How I'm talking to you is not how I talk to you. So, but
questioning
if a bus driver steps to me, first of all, there's some honor there because I do honor the black man, but he's not my man. And so if you're wanting to take me on a date and we're sitting here getting to know each other, okay, what do you do for a living? Okay, what are you going to do?
Thinking about like a 5-year relationship, like down the road, you start asking like 2-3 years, like what are you doing? How you gonna do this? You need to just bow out, brother. That's what I'm saying. That's like first date.
The only time it comes up is if he doesn't do what he said he was going to do.
Go ahead, Pope.
So, Brother Jesse was talking about what do we bring to the table, right? And this is going to tie into what Marian and Gavin is talking about right now. So what do we bring to the table? Okay. And this will also tie into, do men need multiple women or else they're unhappy? When it comes to bringing something to the table, really, most men just want one fucking thing on the table, and that's called peace. That's it. Now, this is the freaking issue. This is the real God, the honest issue. If she's making $60,000 a year and I'm making $40,000 a year, and she's telling me or she's asking me what is the plan, that is not peace. Because now I got to continue to grow and get better when most likely your $60,000 ain't never going to fucking grow and you don't have a plan either. But even if you do have a plan, it ain't going to fucking work out. But the bottom line is, come on, Marian, why you cutting me off? Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
You're ridiculous.
Time out. It actually isn't ridiculous.
It makes sense what you're saying.
Most people, by the time they get into their careers, they're 25, 26, 27 years old. If they're making $60,000 a year, most likely you're going to stay in that goddamn range. All these women always have these things. Oh, I make $60,000, but in 3 years, I'm going to be making $140,000. But statistically speaking, the data and the actual facts prove that that's not freaking true. They're going to stay at that $60,000. But this same exact woman is going to shove this down this man's throat and say, what's your plan? What's your goal? You need to do better. When in reality, all they would need to do is say, you know what? You make 40, I make 60. We got $100,000 household. Let's make better business decisions. Oh, hey, babe, I'm real good at coupons. I'm real good at doing X, Y, and Z. I could budget really well, and they could live a fucking good life. But instead, that woman is going to put all that pressure on him, and that's called not having peace. And then guess what that man is going to do? He's going to seek that peace in another woman. Now we got multiple women, and not women's. But now we have multiple women, and now they're saying I'm unhappy. I'm not unhappy. I'm just trying to find some goddamn peace. I land my plane.
But isn't a lack of peace a version of unhappiness? That's the void I'm talking about. He doesn't have peace. What you said is absolutely makes sense in that if she's making the 60 and she doesn't have a plan, how can you require him who has 40 to have a plan? This is why I always say, what are you bringing to the table? The way I counsel and tell people is never ask for something to be brought to the table you're not willing to bring yourself. So if you don't have a plan for growth for yourself apart from me, how dare you ask me to have a plan of growth apart from you? Mm-hmm. If I come to you, yes, as a man, period, as a real man, period, I should have a plan for growth for my life to get to somewhere that I want to be. I should have a goal, just on GP alone. But if being a bus driver is my goal and I'm satisfied in life being a bus driver, and you have your cosmetology degree, or you are a CEO, but at either spot you have no plan for growth and how you're going to get better in 5 years, what you're going to do next in 5 years, you can't ask me that question, and vice versa. But what I heard Marian saying was that these are conversations, this is true what I was saying as well earlier, these are conversations that take place in the beginning. You can't get to 5 years down the road and be like, what's your plan of growth? If we've never had this conversation at the beginning, we got to have this conversation at the beginning so that she can then say, oh, wait, I got with you because we were supposed to be building something. You're not holding up your end of the bargain. What's going on? I also agree with Gavin, however, that if that happens, he's already lost.
Brother Jesse, if you take a person that makes 40,000, take a person that makes 60,000, you ain't building. You're not building shit anyway, man. These are not builders, right? So listen to me. Just hear me out for a second. Mm-hmm. Why is it that the white man's median income is $50,000 a year? A white man can make $50,000 a year, be a bus driver. His woman get with him. They have a family. They raise their family. Everything works out a-okay. But on our end, our median income is $40,000, and we got our black woman on our fucking back saying, "How are you going to fucking do better?" That's not fucking peaceful. And guess what's happening? Guess who's being sacrificed? These families, these kids, these women are breaking up with men over $10,000. Over $10,000. Then they get with the next man that ain't doing nothing either, and they're gonna cheat on them too. It ain't working out for us. At what point do we realize, hey man, you make 50, I make 50, that's $100,000. Man, let's rock out with some love and raise these goddamn babies and have some respect and some virtue in our household. But as long as it's gonna be just about money, that's gonna be hard to overcome.
But Brother Pope, that's what I was saying. It's not just money.
No. One thing. Hold on. One last point. And I started this by saying that a lot of women promote things that actually hurt them. The woman that's making $60,000 a year, she is the least married person in America. The least married person in America. So it's not like she just can't get with me, but the white guys ain't coming for her, the Asians ain't checking for her, the Hispanic ain't nobody checking for her. But she will not mess with a man over $10,000. That's the fucking problem.
I'll tell you what, let me get here real quick because I gotta go. But I'll say this. You hit on something there. So over $10,000, you can see Manuel Maria cross over into America. That brother will stand out in front of Home Depot and get submission from his wife, come home to a home-cooked meal. You understand? He ain't got to go through all this. Brother probably make $20,000. And here's what I'll say, my final thought. In 2022, this for all men and women, I don't suggest today, I can't speak on any other time in history, But today, where the fuck we at? I don't suggest any woman don't court no man who make less money than you. And then any man, you see what I'm saying? No woman should be courting a man making less money than her. And where did that leave them though?
Facts.
Right? Because like you said, women are liberated. They are independent. They are boss chicks. So if women are making all this money they say they making, and if medium income only 42,000, and all these women say they making 60, 70, go find all these men making 80,000, which is only less than 15% of us. Good luck. So at that point, it's gonna come all full circle. You gotta start sharing us. You cannot, monogamy is not a real thing. We gotta do away with this. Y'all gotta start sharing the top men. Now you go get your average man and accept and respect that man, but y'all won't. So if you want top men, fucking you gotta share us. Y'all can't be talking out both sides of y'all mouth. You can't control a man. A man is in charge. It's just that's the ugly truth. So the numbers is saying it. I know how you feel, but the numbers is saying it. Women are chronically single right now across the nation, in particular black women.
And man,
and the more money y'all make, the more single y'all become. So hypergamy is a real fucking thing. So y'all trying to level up. Y'all will never respect a man making less money than you. So it just is. If you did, all y'all women will go find you a regular man and respect that man and marry him. But you don't want them. So call it what it is. It ain't the fact that there's not many husbands, although there are many men. All men ain't husbands, obviously. Most men probably ain't. But that little bit of men that are, y'all don't want them. Just y'all want to bring these motherfuckers around your girlfriend, or he don't dress right. You know what I mean? Or like you said, he don't make enough money. I like to go on trips. I like to do this. He can't support my motherfucking lifestyle.
Because I say a lot of times if her friends don't approve, then he's out of there.
You see what I'm saying? You ain't tall enough. You don't make enough money. Your dick ain't big enough. You talk about misogyny. Let's talk about misandry. The misandry that goes on. You ain't tall enough. You can't fuck long enough.
My man Gavin's preaching.
So that's misandry. I just want y'all to look into that. That's the thing. Well, I'm gonna get out of here tonight, man. I definitely respect you for letting me on, fam. I hope
hold on. Before you go, you know what I'm saying? I would just like for you to let everybody know where they can find you and what you got going on.
So we at Cart Before the Horse Productions. We on YouTube. So we got a channel. If you can't, go subscribe, check it out. If you like it, it really, it got a little bit of something for everybody. I'll be honest. Just go through the catalog, and there's all type of stuff in there. We talk about like a lot of everything, almost like, correct me if I'm wrong. And
now, are you just on YouTube, or are you on other platforms?
Yes, we're just on YouTube. We just do video podcasting on YouTube, and just trying to grow that.
Do audio for Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of that as well.
No, so we haven't gotten to that lane yet. We just do video. We just do video right now.
Okay.
So
yeah, man, I definitely appreciate you for coming through, man. I think I hit you a couple of days ago, and I was like, I hope it's not too short a notice. You know what I mean?
And this was a good one, man.
You guys have allowed me to be on your platform a few times. You know what I mean? And I really enjoy your show and what it is that you got going on, and the different people and different opinions that people have on there. So I'm always appreciative to be on other people's platforms as well. So again, like I said, I really thank you for coming on. Appreciate it a lot.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones, bro. Miss Marian.
Salute you, sir.
God bless you, sister. It ain't nothing personal. Nothing but love. Nothing but love, man. Nothing but love up here. I just get a little, bit energy sometimes. Like I said, go check the podcast out. Y'all all welcome to come up if you want to sometimes. And, we launch videos daily and just trying to grow this kind of podcast thing in the Beaver County area. Because we kind of in the back, we in the backwood countries, and we kind of slow on a lot of things. So
it's not a whole lot of people that are doing podcasts and poke. I know you even had one when you was doing, you're doing your sports talk and all of that. And even the ones that you had me on that had nothing to do with sports, just kind of everyday life. You know what I mean? So I know you had started before I did, Jesse. I know you said you've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? But like Gavin, Willie had said to me on one of their shows, for us to come together and be able to build, each other's, because. For example, like Jesse, I I may get some of your audience. They're exposed to me now, you know what I'm saying? Just for you being on this show, and the same with Gavin, Poke, and you know, that's just how it goes. So we're all going to be intertwined with each other's audiences, you know, to help us grow. So that's always a good thing, man. And I'm here for it, you know what I mean? But Poke, man, what's up, man? You getting back on it, or you know, it's kind of rap?
I'm definitely getting back on it, man. But to be honest, man, I've been on a real purpose and a grind. Like I'm trying to get something done at work, and so
understood.
And people don't understand this, man. When you do have a YouTube channel, man, it takes a lot of preparation because what you're saying is always on tape. And these haters out here, man, they cannot wait to trip you up. So you know what the hell you're talking about when you do these damn YouTube channels. You come out here and talk, man. So it takes a lot of time and preparation, man. I've been really focused on something at work, but I'm definitely getting back and producing content.
And I have that conversation with people all of the time too. It's like, you know, people think, you know, podcasting, you know, you just get behind a mic or, you know, any kind of recording, you just start talking. Now it's a whole lot that goes into this before we even get to this point. Like just the last 2 or 3 days period, you know what I mean? For me, it's just been research on certain things, you know, pulling up videos of what clips it is that I want to use, even just having certain people on this platform for this particular conversation. You know, you can't just have anybody on. Everything has to work. Everything has to mesh, you know what I'm saying, for it to go a certain kind of way. So I felt like, you know, I chose for this particular subject. There was one other person who I wanted to have on. She wasn't able to make it, but you know, some people who I feel like they can really give some kind of insight on what it is that we're talking about. And it's, you know, Jesse, you're a pastor, you know, Marian, you're Christian, you know, Poe, I'm not sure if you're Muslim or, you know, okay, you know what I'm saying? And me, I'm just kind of out here in limbo dangling, you know what I'm saying, with my religious beliefs and all of that. So, you know, we got all kind of different opinions in how people think. So, you know, it's been a great show. Jesse, also, you know, I know you got something going on too, man. Where can people reach you at?
Facts. So, the Real Talk Podcast, we are on bi-monthly, twice a month. You can reach us on just about everywhere podcasts are. Apple Pod. Finally, we're on Amazon Pod, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Anchor. We also we launched our YouTube channel. I'm trying to get that up together. I'm glad that YouTube decided to finally allow people to start using their own URLs, so I can get rid of that long, unnecessary number letter combination that people have for it. So once I get that solid, I can give out that. We also have a Facebook page, the Real Talk Podcast on Facebook. We go live. Matter of fact, we have a conversation we're doing live on Saturday. Should start to go live around 8 o'clock, I believe. So yeah, we should be dropping in.
Okay, man, that's what's up. Like I said, it's always great to hear people doing things like this. Jesse, I do too. I really enjoy your podcast as well, because even though you're a pastor, you know what I mean, you're a Christian, all of that, you're still a very down to earth person. And from what I understand, you know, just for me, knowing I've known you for 30 plus years, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
something around that time. Real down to earth, not judgmental. Like you said, I mean, you deal with all kinds of different people, and you, I guess, coach people through how to get through certain things in life. So, you know, we don't get a lot of that from a lot of Christian folks. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bashing and I'm better than and all. You know, I mean, you know how it goes. But I don't put you in that box. You know what I mean? And that's why that was another reason why I wanted to have you on here. Even though I've talked to you months ago. It's like, hey man, I would love to have you on the show. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying, man. You have to pick something to where everybody kind of fits. You know, so everything worked out today. I think it was a good show. But we, you know, 2.5 hours in, I don't think there was really too much of a dull moment with it. You know, Marian, you know what I'm saying? You bring a different, you know, light to every conversation that you're a part of. You know what I mean? If you want to go check any of my other podcasts, I can't remember which ones you were on off the top of my head, but she's on there. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever get a chance, you know, check out all of the episodes that I got. I think I got about 28 of them. You can catch out. You out of here, man?
Oh, no, I was just saluting Marian.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
But I was hoping I could get a last word.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just want to let everybody know, you know, before we let Pope get the last word, you know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a co-host, Candoria Lear. She wasn't able to make it today. But you can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, and I have a few videos up on YouTube. Some of them are actually videos. Some of them are just audio recordings that were put onto YouTube. Something I have to get better at and stay consistent. But that's another part of this podcasting game. You know what I mean? Consistency is key. But again, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like a one-man band, you know what I'm saying, kind of show, even though I do have a co-host, and what she brings to the show is great, you know what I mean? But there's certain aspects that I just do all on my own. So when you don't really have a complete team around you, you know, two or three more people, it gets a little difficult just, you know, when everything is on your shoulders. But yeah, that's where you could check me out at. I'm on Facebook as Marcus Jones. Instagram, Quesem_13, QUESM_ONE, the number 3. That's where you can find me at on Instagram. And also I have a Correct Me If I'm Wrong page on Instagram. Correct me. Shit, I can't remember. I think it might be correct_wrong_13. I believe that's it. You know, so many different handles and all this. I can't remember. I really don't do Twitter too much. I need to get on that as well. TikTok, I'm on there, Quesem13. Got to get better at that as well. It's just so much to do to get yourself exposed. You know what I mean? I be trying to have my kids help me, and they really don't be feeling that, because I guess parents or the old heads, we not supposed to be invading their space on. There we go. Thank you, Marian. I appreciate that. Thank you.
If I'm wrong, _13.
Correct me if I'm. Is it correct wrong or correct me if I'm wrong?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. _13. That's my IG or my other IG page. Okay, I appreciate that, because I wasn't even gonna go, you know, search it or look at it. But yeah, go ahead, Poke, man. Go. You got the last word.
All right, man. Hey, I hate to beat a dead horse, man, but I just wanted to have my closing argument as far as this title is concerned. But before I do that, I want to say, Marian, in all honesty, I got nothing but salute and props to you, because you came in here. It was a really unfair playing ground. I mean, you're going up against 5 guys, but you had nothing but grace, class. You made great points. You're lovely, and so I very intelligent. So I just wanted to tell you, you did a great job. Nothing but respect.
Thank you.
Jesse, Pastor
I
Jesse,
just want y'all to know that not all women think the same.
and you did a great job. You did a great job. You gave a lot of hope to a lot of guys. But
really, because I'm glad that came across, because a lot of stuff y'all was saying, I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
No, yeah, and that came across. That definitely came across. So I mean, beautiful example of a Black woman. Jesse, we're going to connect, man. I loved your input, but we got so far off course. I just wanted to bring it back home as far as how I feel about the actual topic. Do men need multiple women to be happy, or they're unhappy if they need multiple women? Throughout all of this dialogue, I haven't gotten anything from anybody that proves one society that did well in a monogamous relationship. No data nor statistics that prove that XYZ society had high rates of success. We know that our country does not have high rates of success. Nobody proved that men never needed multiple women, going all the way back to the beginning of time. So I didn't really get what I was looking for from you guys, but I do believe that we proved that this is something that men do experience, and I don't think that makes them unhappy. Also, last point, having a void is not equal to being unhappy. Just because you have a void in your life don't mean that you're unhappy. You can have a void and still be happy, but you're still going to seek to fill that void. And to begin this all, Jesse, you did say that you have to pray, meditate, seek a higher power in order to be dedicated, committed to that one woman. If you're doing that, then that means that you naturally are something else. If I got to pray to do something, then that means that I naturally want to do the opposite. So that's my only point, that it's really only natural for men to desire other women. But I still do believe that a man can be a one-woman man if he's committed to it. He loves that woman enough, and he prays, meditates, and do all these other great things and life experience. And that's all I got. I'm sorry, I land my plane.
You all good, my man. You good.
I hope you don't mind. I'm still in that tag. I love that tag. I'm gonna land my plane. I don't know where you got it from. I don't know if that's joke, but I love that. Shout out. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We got any other last words before we go ahead and head out of here? I know it's kind of late. You know, I'm the only person who doesn't have to work tomorrow, probably be due to my broken ankle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I broke my ankle a couple weeks ago at
I've
work.
been there. That sucks.
Yeah, but it does suck, you know what I mean? But I am getting, I guess, you know, workman's comp. I'm, you know, so I am getting paid, and then, you know, there's going to be other legal channels that I'm trying to go through to get a little bit more paper. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see how that all plays out. But I mean, if nobody else has anything, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to reiterate: not all women act and think the same, or value all the same things that you might think.
That is
so
true.
I do know some women that they have characterized, but that ain't my testimony. That's all I can say. and the men that I date don't often, you know, like I said, like I value growth and wealth building, legacy building, and the men that I date often value those things too. So, and they appreciate a woman that will challenge them respectfully. So I've never dated a man that didn't call me his piece. So I'll land my plane.
I feel it. Well, listen, y'all, I really appreciate y'all for taking out these last 2.5, almost 3 hours to be on my show. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, Pope, Marian, you've been on before. You guys are always welcome back at any time. Jesse, I'm sure we will do something else again soon. You know what I mean? Love your energy, the vibe, and all of that stuff. You know, I like to do one about religion, you know, a little further on down the line. You know what I'm saying? If everybody is cool with doing so, you know, of course, you know, I'm going to keep it respectful. Everybody is as everyone else should, because everybody doesn't believe in the same things. But I think it's a discussion
I've never seen you not be respectful.
Hey man,
I see all your posts. I've never seen you not be respectful.
Listen, man, I get unfriended all of the time because people feel like I'm being disrespectful or
hey, Marcus, you so slick with them posts, boy. You be starting the major shit, boy.
Hey, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll post something and I'll just sit back and let everybody else go at it. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's something that I have become good at. You know what I mean? I'm good at getting people to talk. You know, so that's why I felt like, listen, man, with this podcasting thing, even though I'm not monetizing off of it yet, it took me 37 years, almost 38, almost 30, because I started about a year ago. 37 years to find something that I feel like I'm actually pretty good at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we miss Candy too.
Yeah, man. So she's got something going on this weekend that she's getting ready for. But you know, I talk to her all the time, and I believe she'll be ready to go. You know, if we do a show next week or anytime after that, she'll be ready to go. Now, whether she'll be sitting next to me or not, we don't know, because you know I can also have her like I have you guys. But the vibe is always really good with us when we are in the same room together. You know what I mean? If you listen to any other of my shows, you will see how we go back and forth with each other. You know, just because that's the kind of relationship I got with her. But yeah, man. Again,
with 5 women and 1 guy.
Hey, you know what? And I think about that as well. I'm like, maybe I need, you know, me, one other dude, you know what I'm saying, and a bunch of women. So y'all can go ahead and, start
Shayla, Candy.
Oh my God. Shout out to my homie Shayla, though. Shout out to Shayla. You know what I'm saying, and Candoria Lier. But yeah, man, I don't know. This has been a good time for me. This is something I really enjoy doing. But you know, until next time, guys, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget to smile. It's a good look.